got to be aggressive and let it go.
There are their numbers in the series. The big one there, Steve Nash, 15.5 points a game in the regular season, 28.5 in this series. Spin you through the Bud Light starting lineups. It's the same lineup Dallas has started every playoff game. You're familiar with their men up front. Josh Howard joining Nowitzki. Eric Dampier coming off 0 field goals made in Game 5. Quentin Richardson, Sean Marion, Amari Stoudemire, Steve Nash, Jim Jackson, the former Mav, the difference maker in the fourth quarter of Game 5. The backcourt of Terry and Finley. Will they answer the call here tonight? Bernie Fryer, Ron Garrettson, Derek Stafford, the officials. Game 6 underway. Phoenix coming off the Game 5 win, 114-108, when they scored 38 points in the fourth quarter. Nash, first shot of the game. Rebound by Josh Howard.
Everything that Avery Johnson has tried against Steve Nash has failed miserably. They've got to come up with just a basic stick defense and try to shut him down.
And right away, the first team All-NBA guys head-to-head. Nash did not give Nowitzki a clean look. Richardson needs to get a few of those going to the basket.
If Quentin Richardson gets into this game, Phoenix has a much easier time because now Dallas is going to be concerned with 5 offensive players, and Richardson has been struggling.
Only 7 points in Game 5. Now the normal matchup, Sean Marion, very good defender on Nowitzki. Michael Finley, who has struggled from the field the last 2 games.
And you can see early in the ball game what the Phoenix Suns are doing. They're switching everything.
Richardson tried again to Jim Jackson. Good hustle back by Howard.
Great quickness by Sean Marion in the passing lane. Third team all defense.
Howard the miss. Mavs a miss on their first couple. Back come the Suns.
What Phoenix is intent on tonight is creating the pace early.
Stoudemire inside. They destroyed Dallas, scoring 66 points in the paint in Game 5. An early one there for Amari.
And Avery Johnson has got Jason Terry guarding Steve Nash, which is different than what he's gone the last few games where he had more size with Josh Howard on it.
There's the switch. Nash recovers. Terry needs to get going offensively. Able to draw the foul early on the MVP, Steve Nash. And we're joined tonight by Jim Gray. Jim?
All right, Mike, thank you very much. I spoke to Dirk Nowitzki before the game. He told me he is feeling pressure, and so is his teammates. He says, we know where we're at. He said it was very embarrassing in Game 5 to give up 66 points in the paint. He said the only thing that was more embarrassing was to watch it on tape. Spoke to Avery Johnson. He said our team has to be aggressive from the start, all night, everywhere. Nothing about the equation can be solved. We cannot play this team on their heels. And finally, I spoke to Jerry Stackhouse. He told his team in the huddle, hey, guys, if you're not hungry, don't come to the table. Get out of the way while the rest of us eat.
As Stackhouse did in Game 5 with 29 points, he's been the best bench player in this series. Richardson.
Now, the one thing you know about Stackhouse, so he's hot and cold. He was tremendous in Game 5. He may not draw an egg tonight. He may be in that category with Eric Dampier.
Early touch, early dunk for Dampier. Very important for Dallas to get him involved early. When he's been involved early and played well, the Mavs have had success. Slapped away off the leg of Nash. Good defense by Terry.
Referees letting it go. They ignored the traveling violation against Eric Dampier, the slack down on the wrists and hands of the Phoenix Suns, Richardson and Nash when they go to the hoop. Referees, the whistles in the pockets early.
Snapper said all these switches. So Terry over Stoudemire gets on the board from the field, and the Mavs are on top by 1.
Didn't you tell me once upon a time these are the playoffs? We don't worry about the officials and their calls.
That's what we want.
3-on-2 for Dallas. Howard, the runner. No basket. This will be called on the Mavericks.
Good sign for the Phoenix Suns. And then Quentin Richardson, the former Clipper, now playing at an NBA playoff level.
See Amari down there still, back behind the play.
Appeared that Quentin Richardson was falling backwards before the contact even came.
And they're going to take a 20 to check on Stoudemire. He's trying to walk it off. Steve Nash helped Amari up.
Well, you know, chills went through all of the people in San Antonio last night when Tim Duncan sprained and the other ankle a little bit. Same thing happening here. They cannot afford to see Stoudemire go to the bench and lose another key player to injury.
It's a very thin bench. They have gotten nothing out of, especially the big men off the bench. I mean, Bo Outlaw, Jake Bosco, Paul Shirley have been along for the ride thus far.
But in Amari Stoudemire, you're talking a future MVP of this league. And he is the dream and the prototype of what the NBA will look like in the middle for years to come. At only 22 years of age, second team All-NBA Amari Stoudemire, cannot have him go down with any sort of problem.
Mike, what are you saying about Bosco and Outlaw and Shirley?
They've had a very nice run a couple hours before the game shooting. Overplay, the steal by Howard. So 4 early Phoenix turnovers has turned into 4 of the Dallas 7 points. They're being physical with Nash here tonight. Offensive foul, is that Nash's second?
No, they call that on Amari Stoudemire with the screen.
Just laid it out. Whenever you lay out a pass to a team that's got guys that play well in the passing lane, the results are they pick it off and they play above the rim. This is what Phoenix doesn't want to see happen, and certainly Dallas is thinking we got to play that way the entire game.
The crowd is surging, trying to push their beloved Mavericks through the fatigue.
Hoping to force a game 7 Sunday in Phoenix. Howard very active, very effective early. Josh Howard, 4 points, couple of steals, a 9-0 run by Dallas.
They come with a quick double team on Amari Stoudemire. Intelligent decision making be the order of the day there.
Nowitzki slapped it away. Stoudemire at 10 on the shot clock. Threw it away. 5 Phoenix turnovers. 5 in a row, guys.
The score is 9-4, and being down by 5 points never phases the Phoenix Suns. What they've got to get is better decision-making in that 5-point deficit.
They've got to get somebody who can stop Josh Howard individually with man-to-man defense.
Michael Finley looking to get hot. Off from Howard again in the lane. He's been the best player in the first 4 minutes. Stoudemire took it all the way and draws the foul from Finley. And guys, what we've seen thus far when Phoenix has had the ball is we watch Howard hustling again.
Well, Finley is expert in just dribbling to a spot, but Quentin Richardson is the man who's matched up with Josh Howard. And Richardson is not getting the job done in terms of containing him, putting any sort of pressure whatsoever. Josh Howard, supremely gifted athletically, just having his way.
One more coming for Stoudemire. It's been a very aggressive defensive effort from Dallas. More physical, something Avery Johnson hoped to see as you look at Stoudemire, who's been dominant in this series.
But when you're down 3-2, you got nothing to lose. You might as well just come out and start hacking and scratching and flying to the hoop. What are you going to do? You're down on the ropes anyway.
You picked Dallas to win this series, didn't you?
Not this series, this game.
Oh, my.
Terry. Look at Howard again. Almost came in for his 4th rebound.
Well, one of the reasons he's able to do it, though, is they're switching. So Steve Nash is the guy that's being picked up by Josh Howard.
Amari hangs in the air and draws the contact. This is as physical, and Mike D'Antoni is all over Derek Stafford right now. This is as physical as they have been all series on Steve Nash.
One thing Nash is going to do, he's going to keep coming. So we'll find out whether the physical nature, the way that they're playing, has an effect on Nash's aggressiveness, whether he can be effective.
That high screen and roll. They stay with Steve Nash that time, which is not something that they've done in the last couple of games when he went for 48 in game 4, and then 34 in game 5.
The foul on Josh Howard, guys, was his second, so he has to come to the bench. And the hand here for Jerry Stackhouse coming off the 29 on 11 field goals made. The one thing with Howard, he's been getting a lot of fouls. 56 of a possible 72 fouls thus far in the 12 playoff game.
He got caught up in that Stackhouse speech about if you're not hungry, let somebody else eat. So he's fired up.
But if you play at that level all the time, eventually the referees will just stop calling the fouls on you.
Nowitzki's taken one shot, missed it. Marion Garza comes across the lane for 2.
Impossible to stop if you're Sean Marion in that situation, who's given up about 4 inches in size.
You would rather see Dirk Nowitzki trying to play in the post than outside.
Nash to miss, Stackhouse the rebound. The bounce and the step belongs to the team in home white. Dampier down the lane.
Now we're seeing out of Dallas what they should have been doing the entire season, playing with the tempo and quickness and really trying to be the aggressors and throw some of Phoenix's game back at them.
But not only is Dallas's defense able to disrupt Steve Nash, but the rotation back to the guy that Nash is backing or passing to. But with Eric Dampier, obviously the game plan is to set him up. The penetration, Amari Stoudemire should come all those times because Eric Dampier has given the Mavericks nothing to this point in the series.
Eric picked up the last foul, his first. Beautiful pass by Nash as they work the screen and roll the second time to free Stoudemire, who has 7 of the Phoenix 9.
Phoenix Suns' best road team in the NBA this year.
Stackhouse is fouled in the act by Jim Jackson. What a battle these guys have had. It'll be 2 free throws for Stack.
The pressure is on the Dallas Mavericks to play this way the entire game. They don't want to end the first quarter in a 2 or 3 point ball game after having dominated the first 6 minutes. So there's 6:15 left, and let's see if they can keep this energy, the tempo up to where they get a bigger lead, a double-digit lead at the end of 1.
One more for Stackhouse. We remind you that there'll be a game on ABC Sunday. Our coverage begins at 3 Eastern. Either Game 7 of this series or Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals with Phoenix and San Antonio. Meantime, the Eastern Conference Finals set Detroit-Miami Game 1 from South Florida on TNT Monday at 8 Eastern.
One of the true testaments to the job Avery Johnson has done is how he's been able to get Stackhouse and Dampier and Jason Terry to become team ball players.
Sean Marion has been terrific in the playoffs, averaging a double-double. Splashes down to 3. Deflection by Jim Jackson. Will have 17 to shoot.
Are you saying that Jerry Stackhouse was never a team player?
I can go back to his last team, the Washington Wizards, without even going to the teams before that.
He's been a different player, and Josh Harris been a difference maker. Picked up 2 fouls, but active on the offensive glass early, helping the Mavs with that energy surge that you expect down 3-2 in a Game 6.
The NBA playoffs on ESPN, home of the Western Conference Finals.
Back here in Dallas, the ING Direct Orange Savings Airship. High Savings 1, proud to provide our aerial coverage here at the American Airlines Center, sold out for the 183rd time tonight. Inside Dallas, leading by 5. Of course, the storyline of the series has been the MVP, Steve Nash, returning against the gold team. How about the game he had in Game 5, coming up with the triple-double, 34 points, 12 assists, 13 rebounds. In 3 consecutive playoff games, he has set a career playoff high for assists in a game, points in a game, and then rebounds in a game in Game 5. And with that triple-double, after a 40-point game, the very next game, he joins Michael Jordan, who did it twice, and Wilt Chamberlain, the only 3 men in the history of the playoffs to go for 41 night and triple-double the next.
Steve Nash is the best player in basketball, and I had no idea that he was as good as he is, because he has taken it to a level unsurpassed in his 9-year career.
They won 62 games. You weren't watching the other games?
I was watching them all, Steve, but he's never played like that.
Well, and when the MVP, I'll tell you what's impressive is the 13 rebounds. You know, he gets rebounds, and he's not that big a lead for. He's in traffic, but he does have great hands.
All defensive rebounds in that game. 1 sub at the timeout. Darrell Armstrong has come in. A little more pressure on Nash with Armstrong up top. Jim Jackson quarter triple.
Finally, a point out of the backcourt. Nash scoreless so far. That was Jim Jackson's first hoop.
Stackhouse goes to the baseline. Attacks he got right around Jackson.
No defensive rotation whatsoever. They're just putting all kinds of pressure on Steve Nash.
Darrell Armstrong picked up a foul here in the backcourt.
One thing you can't do is give Stackhouse the baseline. There's no way that help's going to be able to get over there in time. Jim Jackson got to make an effort to stay in front of him.
Yeah, but what was that with the fake offensive foul try by Quentin Richardson? He's not going to get a charge again.
Again, more contact. Out to Marion up top. On Marion, 2-point game. 5 minutes in. 5 minutes left first quarter.
It's amazing that Dallas is playing perfect, Phoenix is playing awful, and it's a 2-point game.
I sense a switch coming.
On the court or at the table. Finley on the cross court, 5 to shoot. Use the Dampier screen to get a 2. Good defense by Stoudemire. Nowitzki the rebound. Dirk will get some free throws.
If you give up a contested jumper on one side, you've got to own the defensive backboards on the weak side. Sean Marion, Amari Stoudemire, they're getting pushed around out there. Dirk Nowitzki getting to the glass.
Marion's in front, a little hand in the back, and got him far enough under to where Sean Marion couldn't get back to that rebound.
But when you're playing against a guy who's bigger and stronger, and Dirk is huge out there compared to Sean Marion, you've got to keep your chest on him so that he can't push you in the back. The referees will not allow that push to take care of the front part of the body.
Are you saying face guarding?
Absolutely.
2 free throws for Nowitzki, first team All-NBA. First player not to go to an American high school or college to be first team All-NBA. Leandro Barbosa from Brazil is checked in to the Phoenix lineup.
Face guarding is not allowed.
Nash, Armstrong got lost as Stoudemire set the screen, and Steve on the board with his first field goal.
You guys talk about his rebounding. What amazes me is his conditioning level. I think he's up there with Lance Armstrong as being the world's most conditioned athlete.
Phil, hang on a minute. It's basketball. It's not the Tour de France. It is, though, a tour de force opening first quarter for Dampier. 3 dunks.
Where's Amari Stoudemire? He's nowhere.
Then to shoot, Nash. There's Amari. A foul is called late on the whistle. And for Dampier, it is 2.
Dallas is playing a desperate game. Phoenix is playing a game knowing they've got a cushion on Sunday if they need it. Not a good way to approach this.
I think Phoenix wants to close this out tonight. There's no, we want to wait till Sunday. We're not going with the Walton theory of we'll win in 7.
Well, we'll go to the bench.
I don't think that's a good strategy, Steve.
Alan Henderson's going to come in for Dampier. Guys, the second foul for Dampier has been a story throughout. Game 1, Game 3, barely 4 minutes in. Remember that Game 1 early second foul, why Nowitzki called him out. And he was able to stay on the floor into the second quarter the last couple of games. But here, the early foul trouble.
But Eric Dampier, like Quentin Richardson, has never played in games of this magnitude at this level.
Stoudemire couldn't squeeze it. Terry comes away with it. And back here, we have a holding foul on Richardson.
And these games are played at such a blistering pace. Unless you have some sort of experience how hard it is. And that's what championship experience teaches you. Mike D'Antoni certainly has that from his days as a player.
They are running players in shifts at Steve Nash. Jason Terry re-enters the game as Armstrong goes out.
Yeah, so we'll set the 5. You have Terry, Stackhouse, Michael Finley, Nowitzki, and Alan Henderson. Stack again attacking at Stoudemire. Here comes Barbosa with Marion, Nash, Richardson, and Amari for the Phoenix Suns.
They are desperate to get something out of Barbosa, and they can find a way to get him into the game early. He'll have a chance to play. Nash against Nowitzki.
Turned away by Dirk, threw it off the back of Finley's arm. It is 4-on-3. Terry late to the pinch. Not a good decision on the break. This one will be fine. Amari.
I love Sean Marion as a defensive player. I voted him for Defensive Player of the Year, and he didn't make either first or second team. Shocking.
When you vote, that is the kiss of death.
10 for Stoudemire. Terry takes Nash in. Amari comes over for the foul.
There's the concern for the Suns. They can't get Stoudemire and Sean Marion nicked up with fouls early in the game.
So as you would expect in a high-intensity game, 2 fouls Dampier, 2 fouls Howard, 2 fouls Stoudemire.
They're paying no attention whatsoever to Eric Dampier. You've got to rotate. Where's the team defense?
Mavs by 1 here in Game 6. Back in Dallas, Mavericks leading by 1, 2:43 left first quarter. So much has been talked about with Phoenix scoring so many points. Is it XO? Is it how you play the screen and roll? Avery Johnson appealed to the other part of playing playoff basketball.
You can't coach really desire. You know, there's a certain level where guys play in the playoffs where they take themselves that a coach can't necessarily get them there. You know, you're going to tell me what Michael Jordan did during his run, or, you know, what Chauncey Billups did in the playoffs last year, or what Tim Duncan has done for years. You know, again, they all have had great coaches, but there are certain levels that those guys take themselves to that you just can't necessarily get them to as a coach.
Well, Avery, the best thing you can do is not play the ones that don't have desire. Play the guys that have that you think can get there, and you don't have to worry about coaching desire.
But leadership by example. And you can teach almost anything over a long period of time, but Avery's only been in that lead chair for a very short period of time, as Don Nelson, who had it for so many years and really built this franchise to what it is. On his way now to the Hall of Fame. Second winningest coach in NBA history.
Is Don a consultant now with the Mavs? With his playing and coaching days, 3,123 regular season games, plus the playoffs. Had a chance to talk to Nelly before the game. Sean Marion rebounds after 1 of 2 at the line. I said, do you miss it? You miss being this close and not being out there coaching? He said, are you kidding me? He said, this is great. No, I'm loving it. He missed it. 10 to shoot for Nash. Barbosa left free. This would be big for Phoenix. And Leandro Barbosa knocks down a 3.
Phoenix is shooting fabulous. They're 9 for 13 on the game, but their 8 turnovers have really cut down the shot attempts that they've been able to put up.
But they are tied, Mr. Walton. Let's remember that. It's 24 to 24.
And Dallas has to be extremely concerned about that.
Nowitzki on Marion. No help came. The 2 fouls from Amari Stoudemire brought Stephen Hunter into the game, a little bit different in the middle.
The Phoenix Suns big men, Hunter that time, Stoudemire before, they're waiting at the basket for guys who are coming. You got to come away from the hoop to make your defensive stand. Great defense, Jason Terry.
Denying Nash, now 5 to shoot. Nash one-on-one trying to make it happen, and the foul is called. Again, that storyline of being more physical with Nash shown there.
One thing that Dirk Nowitzki is doing more of here early in the ball game is being active at the offensive end. Doing a good job of getting himself clear after running the baseline to come inside to score.
And when we talked at our meeting with Dirk this morning, he was having trouble with his offensive back-to-the-basket game, which is not really the strength of the way he plays. So many times in the early years of his career, he was playing against bigger guys. To just take him out to the perimeter and drain the jumper. Steve Nash would set him up off the pick and roll for all kinds of easy opportunities. But now that Dirk has to create for himself, it's a whole different story.
It is a transition with Avery Johnson taking over in that mindset as opposed to Don Nelson. Stackhouse looking to go baseline right again and draws the foul on Jim Jackson.
Jackson is a step slow in this ball game. He picked up the second foul, getting up too close on the quick first step of Jerry Stackhouse. Make Stackhouse show you that he's going to drop that jumper like he did in Game 5.
You know, after listening to Jim Gray's report about feasting at the table, it appears that Jerry Stackhouse is coming for a second sitting.
Quentin Richardson in. Jackson to the bench with 2. Tomorrow, the 2005 WNBA season going to tip off over on ABC. You'll see Lisa Leslie and the Los Angeles Sparks battle Sue Bird, the defending champion Seattle Storm. 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific, the WNBA season begins on ABC. Minute 20 left, first quarter. Dallas has led most of the quarter. They lead by 2. Nash cannot hit it. Steve is 1 of 5 from the field here thus far. Nowitzki, much better rhythm to his shot the last couple of games.
But that's Nowitzki at his best, facing the basket, catching it, and letting it go rather than thinking about it.
Richardson, the find of Hunter, fouled by Allen Henderson. A couple of free throws coming for the 4th-year man out of DePaul.
This is the way the Dallas Mavericks played in Game 5. They led throughout that game until Dirk Nowitzki got poked in the eye with the Three Stooges defense. And when he went to the locker room, that's when the Phoenix Suns took control.
You're still trying to say that he couldn't see after he came back.
No, he had no rhythm, and the team lost their momentum.
One more coming for Hunter. You see Nash to the bench. Mike D'Antoni trying end of the first. You see it end of the third, trying to get Steve out, give him the break in between the quarter so he gets as long a rest as possible. Hunter, who put up an air ball, one of his 2 free throws in Phoenix in Game 5, goes 0 for 2 here.
This is the worst Steve Nash has played in the playoffs this year. 1 for 5 shooting. The rest of the Suns, 8 for 9.
Stackhouse, 8 to shoot. Walter McCarty came in for Nash. Stackhouse went right at Hunter. No foul call. Back the other way. Numbers, Barbosa at the point. To Hunter. He threw it down.
Finally, something off the bench for D'Antoni. Barbosa with the beautiful setup for the strong finish by Hunter.
Hunter at the rim, denied one, got the other. 5 seconds the difference, game and shot in a very high shooting percentage opening frame.
Anything off the bench is good for Phoenix. They're approaching record-level futility in that front.
Nowitzki to Henderson inside. 10-year man out of Indiana gets his first 2.
And that's part of what Avery Johnson likes to say, being patient offensively, making that extra pass.
Barbosa to end the quarter. They wanted goaltending, saying Nowitzki touched it while it was in contact with the cylinder. As Dirk hits the deck here at the end of the quarter, he seems to be okay.
I would venture to say that emotions are running a bit high in this game.
Oh, that's good.
It's about time. It's the playoff.
Darryl Armstrong over here with Quentin Richardson, who's in conversation. He's trying to make sure all his players split out of there and get away from McCarty as well. You see, as the final play goes up, if Nowitzki had contact with it while it was still touching the rim at the end of the first quarter. Phoenix shot 63%. Dallas shot 60%. The Mavericks defense forcing more Phoenix turnovers in that opening quarter. Stephen Hunter coming up with a big block on one end, the dunk right after on the other end, as the Phoenix bench, because of early foul trouble, is going to be called on here in Game 6. As Bill said, terrific intensity. What else would you expect? Mavericks trying to save the season and force Game 7. Phoenix trying to get to the Western Conference Finals for the first time in a dozen years. Dallas 32, Phoenix 28. Quarter 1, Game 6.
Welcome back to Dallas. I'm Jim Gray as we get ready for the second quarter. The Mavs have a 4-point lead over the Suns. I'm now joined by the great golfer Phil Mickelson. He won the Masters a year ago, now playing in the Colonial this week. A huge Phoenix Suns fan, as he used to live in the Scottsdale, Phoenix area, now in San Diego. What gives you the most joy in watching the Suns?
Well, watching them do well. After last year not even making the playoffs, having new ownership come in and get Steve Nash, the way he's turned the team around, has been amazing. It was a lot like Jason Kidd when he came in to the Nets and turned them around.
Phil, you follow this very closely. Who do you like to win the title?
Well, I'm a little biased. I like Phoenix, but I think that they're going to have a tough road, first of all, to get past Dallas. But then if they do, San Antonio, they've always had a little mental block against. And I'd love to see the Suns matching up against the Heat. I think that'd be an awesome series.
I want to ask you, standing on the free throw line and standing over a putt, can you compare the concentration level that's needed?
It's loud over a free throw. It's pretty quiet over a three-footer. I don't think a three-footer is nearly as hard as making free throws under the clutch.
Final thought, U.S. Open's coming up, Pinehurst next month. How's your game?
It's coming around. I'm getting ready for Pinehurst after coming close in '99. I'd love to play well there.
We'll never forget that with Payne Stewart, that you were a father and he won, the late Payne Stewart. We wish you the best of luck here at Colonial. Thanks for talking to us, Phil.
Thank you, Jim.
Mike, back to you.
Jim, thank you. Leandro Barbosa with the score there as Phoenix comes back.
Suns getting major contributions off their bench with Barbosa, Stephen Hunter, now Walter McCarty in there. Quentin Richardson and Jim Jackson and Nash could come alive. Suns could take control of this game.
Jerry Stackhouse tied with Dirk Nowitzki, leading the Dallas scorers with 8. Stackhouse has come in, hit 2 of his first 5 field goals.
But the points in the paint. In last game, Phoenix had a 35-point advantage. Tonight, it's all Dallas.
Barbosa got close, should have had that one. Back comes Howard on the floor with his 2. Terry left free for 3. 9 points for Jason Terry. Dallas, largest lead of the night.
Well, an aggressive Dallas Mavericks team looking for the early scoring chance when it's there and sticking it with confidence.
Barbosa, Hunter, McCarty on the floor for Phoenix. Dallas making a run against the bench. Nowitzki hauled it in. Couldn't find Howard, who keeps it alive with plenty of time to shoot.
Get the ball back to Jason Terry. He's red hot.
The ISO'd on Barbosa, something they've done a lot of in this series. The foul is called, and D'Antoni can't wait any longer. He's going to get Steve Nash back in the game, along with Amari Stoudemire and Jim Jackson.
You know,
that's why he's coach of the year.
For the first quarter, they maintained contact. That's what he wants to do now until they figure out how to get control of the tempo of the game and the scoreboard as Terry is sizzling.
Tremendous reversal here of points in the paint from game 5, 66 over the course of 48 minutes, but into the second only 12, and Dallas determined to get to the rim and throw it down.
Remember that Stoudemire, Marion, they will give you points in the paint because they don't want to get in foul trouble. You got to be able to finish those plays.
Howard on the miss. Back comes Nash. D'Antoni saw exactly what we were seeing. It didn't look like the Suns on the floor. He had to get those 3 subs off. That looks like the Suns. Marion missed the dunk, but got it back and got the hoop. Sean Marion, 7 rebounds, 7 points.
And Sean Marion is due for an explosion. I mean, he's been playing very well as Terry scores again.
Remember, Jason Terry had the 2 phenomenal games against Houston, Game 4 and Game 7 in the first round. This is as good as he's looked offensively since. Marion a response, 9 points now.
The quick attack, but if someone can play some defense for the Phoenix Suns.
Dirk, quick trigger shot.
And Amari Stoudemire looks confused whether to go for the block, whether to stay for Eric Dampier.
Nash over Terry. Got his own rebound. Marion for 3 in a row. Jason will get that one. Steve Nash is just 1 of 6 shooting here tonight. Howard, so aggressive tonight. Foul on Richardson, his second.
You cannot come into a game of this level and magnitude thinking you're going to be successful taking charges.
This thin Phoenix team has 3 of its starters with 2 fouls. It's very similar to Game 3 when they had early foul trouble, but were able to come through it.
One thing that Jason Terry is, he's a quick, explosive scorer, and he has done it here in the second quarter, attacking, and he feels good. It could be a big night for the Jets.
John, I'm sure the Spurs fans are rooting for the team here in Dallas tonight so they can get one more day of rest for Tim Duncan's ankle, actually a couple of days. Well, we have not seen this in the Eastern Conference Series so far. Lots of easy baskets. Snapper, a bunch of dunks here in the opening quarter.
Yeah, an aggressive team in white has been challenging, and Phoenix is trying to make their way here. But if you look at the difference in Game 5, Phoenix dominated that game in the paint. And here early in the ball game, it is the Dallas Mavericks dominating. So the idea is to always get the high percentage shot, and it's the way that you get it.
But where is Amari Stoudemire? This is a major force, the equal of Duncan and O'Neal, a big men at the premier level in the NBA. Amari Stoudemire has 1 rebound in this game, and that's on the offensive end. He also has 2 fouls and 3 turnovers. That will not get it done.
This after Amari came up with 18 rebounds.
Are you calling him out?
In Game 5. Howard hits the hoop. The lead is 9. It equals the largest Dallas lead of the night. You have Nash, Walter McCarty, Amari Stoudemire, Quentin Richardson, and Jim Jackson on the floor for the 62-win Phoenix Suns.
The problem for the Suns is that Stoudemire and Nash have both been outplayed here tonight.
Jackson missed. Howard the rebound. For the 5th time tonight. He leads all Dallas rebounding. Stoudemire had a hand on the line. They say no foul, so it will be Mavericks ball.
If you're Dallas, don't wait for Phoenix. Just keep attacking. Go to Howard. Go to Terry. Go to Stackhouse. Finley is struggling mightily.
Stack faked the 3, got a better 2. Dampier on the putback. He is 4 of 4 from the field. 8 points. You know, in everything you look at, obviously, most guys have better stats in wins than losses. Dampier has been a barometer, but he just picked up a third foul as he had a hold of Amari Stoudemire.
And silly foul. As a big man, what are you doing grabbing somebody around the waist at the three-point line?
Well, because that could turn into a dunk. Amari Stoudemire is the guy that is trying to catch it. As you look at Dampier, get possession inside. And I'm sure that D'Antoni is going to talk to Amari Stoudemire about finding his man, making sure he seals and stays in front.
Neither Sean Marion or Amari Stoudemire are doing a credible job of boxing out tonight.
Jim Jackson on the take. Rolls it over the front rim and gets it back to single digits.
Dallas does not run out of the net as well as the Phoenix Suns do.
They used to when they had Nash and Dillon was coaching. Michael Finley has been ice cold.
Things have changed.
I know that.
I think that's a statement against coaching.
Terry the shake and bake. Look at Howard. His energy has been fabulous tonight. 6 rebounds.
What he's doing is he's chasing the ball. He's the first one to it, and the Suns are going to have to react better to him. Stacked out with a miss.
Back comes Phoenix. Stoudemire was discarded on the other end, so only 4 Suns on this trip. Mario coming to your screen with 15 to shoot. And Jackson working baseline, killing time, waiting for Amari. Is able to draw the foul. For those of you who have not been following this series as closely, now the only conference semifinals still going, we've alternated wins. Phoenix got game 1. Dallas comes back for the game 2 victory in Phoenix. Mike D'Antoni's team came in here, saw the Mavs have a horrible three-point shooting night in game 3. 1 of 18. Phoenix won by 17 points. Then Nash had the 48-point game, making 20 field goals in game 4. Mavs won that one by 10. And then Phoenix gets the 6-point win the other night to get us to 3-2 in the best of 7.
But in that game when he had the 20 baskets, he only took 28 shots. Supreme efficiency. He has a horrendous field goal percentage tonight.
At some point, these shots that he's getting inside are going to start to fall. They're still not doing a good enough job of keeping him out of the base.
He's had the same looks tonight. This is the first time in a long time that I've seen Steve Nash look tired.
But wait a minute. Wouldn't you credit Dallas's defense? They're far more aggressive with him tonight than they have been the first 5 games.
We talked about Steve Nash being in the same category as Jerry West, Oscar Robertson, and Michael Jordan. The defense never had anything to do with those guys.
Are you taking him out of the category now? Do you think he's getting tired? He's going to, there's 31 minutes to play.
We'll have to see how the game goes.
What happened to the Tour de France, Bill? It was a quick stage. Finley for a 10-point lead. Michael Finley has not hit anything. He has hit 10 of his last 36 field goal attempts. Awful for Finley. Marion off the mark. Glass is crashed by Richardson, but his foot was on the line. Dallas falls.
Finley had the huge game 2, which put him into the series.
31 points.
Other than that, Michael Finley showing his age.
Finley, 10th-year man out of Wisconsin, age 32, has played a lot of minutes in high-tempo basketball for Don Nelson over the years. This will be a foul
on Darryl Armstrong.
Picked the foul up against Quentin Richardson. Richardson was trying to get through. Armstrong got in his way.
I was ready to say foul on Armstrong. Richardson was the one who looked panicked. He thought it was his 3rd foul. Instead, they do get Armstrong for his 3rd.
But one of the reasons that Avery Johnson likes Darryl Armstrong is he's one of those supremely confident players that believes he is the best player in the game. Finally, an easy layup for Steve Nash.
His 2nd field goal. He has 8. Phoenix has made just 5 field goals in the second half, yet they are within 5.
We have done a lot of Darryl Armstrong games together. I've never heard you say that. Supremely confident.
Finally, Finley gets one to go. Phoenix a hair too quick. They will turn it over some like that. 9 turnovers is high for them in a half. Armstrong to Howard.
The second chances. That's what's hurting the Phoenix Suns right now. They got to mop up on that glass and get the first stop.
Amari Stoudemire is a step slow to the ball on every play.
Nash back-to-back field goals. He and Stoudemire lead Phoenix with 10. Terry has 11. Howard 10.7 boards for the Mavericks. Dallas trying to force Game 7 Sunday at America West in downtown Phoenix. Nowitzki, 3 of 6 from the field tonight.
Unguardable, classic post-up offense.
Armstrong knocked down by a Marion screen. No foul. Nash draws him. Kicks it. Jackson. It's going to be offensive. On Jackson, his third.
Dirk Nowitzki. It doesn't get any better than this. You back him down, you turn, you pump fake, you change your pivot foot, you step back, and you hit the jumper. Dallas.
Live in downtown Dallas, the Mavericks leading by 9. No panic in the Phoenix huddle with Coach of the Year Mike D'Antoni just yet.
They want to run a little bit. They're going to wear out. We gotta push through it. We gotta push through it. Everything's easy down here. They're coming out so far at us now. Just relax, take your shots, move the ball. They're overextending. They won't.
Both teams shooting 50% from the field.
The Coach of the Year, always positive. Stay within your game. Don't worry about the other team, even though it's all Dallas right now. 15 fast break points for the Mavericks. 10 points for Dallas on 10 Phoenix turnovers, and plus 16 for Dallas in the paint tonight.
Let's check in with Jim Gray. Jim?
All right, Mike, well, the Suns got some good news today. Joe Johnson, who was hurt in Game 2, had a fracture of his orbital bone, has been cleared by the medical staff to return to practice and to return to game action. And it's possible, according to Mike D'Antoni, that Game 7 or Game 1 on Sunday, he might be available. He's being refitted with a mask to play. Also, for the Mavericks, I spoke to Keith Van Horn, and Keith Van Horn sprained his left ankle. He's been out for some time. He told me he suffered a major setback yesterday, was not able to participate today and do anything. It swelled up quite a bit. He's hopeful that he'll be able to practice tomorrow and possibly, if there is a Game 7, be able to return. Mike?
Jim, Marion hits the 3, makes it a 6-point game. There's been so much focus on Joe Johnson. Not a lot said about Keith Van Horn, who's missed the last 9 games after spraining that ankle in Game 3 against Houston. That was a big setback for him. Nowitzki, McCarty at the ball, out of bounds, off Phoenix. Dirk cannot believe the foul was not called, and he is furious at Ron Garrison.
The importance to the teams is what makes the emphasis different. Joe Johnson is huge as we watch Nowitzki come to the rim. He shows the ball too early, and Walter McCarty makes a great block.
Avery Johnson couldn't believe it. Fortunately, Josh Howard stepped right in. This is all ball.
That's one of those where the player reaction, and Dirk takes a lot of those spills after plays, look a lot worse than the play itself. Nowitzki wants to shoot, backing down Marion, comes across the lane. Good defense by Sean Marion there.
Well, you stop him, a bigger guy, more talented physically, and you get the defensive rebound.
And you don't stop Marion, who walks all the way to the cup. 4-point game.
That's why Sean Marion is on the All-NBA team.
9 1/4, and Avery Johnson is not happy. He calls a timeout.
That's a good timeout, too.
But go back to D'Antoni's timeout. The positive reinforcement of what the Phoenix Suns do.
14 points, 9 rebounds to Sean Marion. Strong performance on that sequence. Phoenix inching closer.
Welcome back to New York. Coming up on the Toyota Halftime Show, we'll look ahead to the Heat and the Pistons Game 1 and talk this first half.
Well, if Phoenix takes care of the ball in the second half, Dallas is in big trouble because Phoenix is making shots, 56%, but they're having too many turnovers.
I tell you what, Josh Howard's energy, I've not seen a guy go at it that hard. If he can keep that up for 48 minutes, I still think Dallas will be fine.
Still 10 turnovers by Phoenix, and the thing is, this was one of the premier road teams during the regular season. I'm kind of wondering why they're acting so rattled now. Playoffs.
All right, we will see you at halftime with the Toyota Halftime Show. Mike, back to you.
Look at that crew looking smooth there in Times Square. See you guys at halftime here at the American Airlines Center, live in downtown Dallas. 4-point game as we check the Chevrolet game track. Jason Terry, a little more offense from him. 11 points here in this first half. Steve Nash struggling early on. He's hit his last 2 field goals, has 10 points and 5 assists here on the night. Dallas, part of what Greg Anthony was just talking about. Josh Howard, Eric Dampier, inside hoops, 32-18. They're outscoring Phoenix. Points in the paint. Back to Jim Gray. Jim?
Mike, during that timeout, assistant coach Del Harris spoke to the team. He said, hey, guys, no technical fouls, no tees at all. You can't lose your cool. This is our last game. The referees are going to make mistakes. It's all how you handle it. Mike?
How great for Avery Johnson as he has made the transition to a head coach to have the former Milwaukee, Houston, and Laker coach Del Harris there as a sounding board, to the point that one night here, one of the off nights says we got a whistle away from the ball and a foul is called. Avery went to Dell's house here in suburban Dallas. Dell put together some of those milkshakes that he's been making for his son who's growing and putting on some beef. And they said watch tape and had some of Dell's special milkshakes. Just that moment out of the fire of the playoffs. That Dell has been so valuable for Avery here this year.
As he was for years for Don Nelson.
5 to shoot. Terry pulls back on Nash. Jason Terry, 13 points here in the first half.
I asked you this question. Is he a better assistant coach than a head coach? Chew on it and get back to it.
Nash draws them all. Pitch to Richardson. Can Quinton get going from the outside? The man who made more threes than anybody in the NBA this year. 0 of 2 tonight.
Jason Terry's taking it right to Steve Nash. From the outset, this is the kind of game they've hoped him. Jason Terry's numbers during this series have been good. It's just that Steve Nash has been off the charts.
11 of those 15 here in the second quarter. Richardson blocked by Nowitzki, who is called for the foul.
Phoenix is shooting a better percentage and has more rebounds, which are the two most important team statistics. But they're a step slow from the opening tap tonight, finding themselves in this 8-point hole.
Look at Quinton Richardson's point total here, just 2. He is the only Phoenix Sun who has not taken his game up a notch here in the playoffs.
And that's what you have to do. To win the championship, everybody has to keep playing better and better and better over a 2-month period. And Quinton Richardson, who was spectacular during major stretches of the regular season, has not been able to do that. And as each game has come, Quinton Richardson seems to shrink a little bit more.
Well, he's not getting the same opportunities. When he plays well, he gets the ball early out on the wing and has a chance to shoot that free or drive the ball, and he hasn't been able to get it. This is a team that plays an open court as Stackhouse works against McCarty.
He was directing traffic. I don't even traffic ever cleared the way he wanted. Nowitzki had no concept what Stack was asking him to do. Nash pushed back the other way.
Jason Terry's got the hot hand. Stackhouse should quit shooting the ball.
Marion wide right. Nash, the follow. Stoudemire took a shot, and he goes down heavy.
Dallas have to take advantage here.
5 on 4, and here comes Amari now.
Quinton Richardson cannot guard Dirk Nowitzki. Mavericks have to get him the ball. They switch it back.
Howard down the lane. Foul.
McCarty.
Amari Stoudemire looks beat up.
One thing Amari has to do is be more assertive, and right now he's allowing Henderson and the rest of the Dallas Mavericks to push him around. He's going to get a breather, and Stephen Hunter will come back in, but he's not done. There are 24 minutes in the second half, and he will have an impact on this game.
Amari, we have seen him play so well, put up so many points. We forget he's 22 years old. 3 years out of high school for all the amazing things he has done thus far this season. Second team All-NBA, averaging 26 a game, 5th in the league.
The energy that the Mavericks have displayed, they still have not been able to pull away and put Phoenix in their rearview mirror. So this is a team that's got to continue to play this way in the second half. 2:01 left here in the first.
But the next step for Amari Stoudemire is to get to the level of Shaquille O'Neal and Tim Duncan in terms of decision-making, which is where Steve Nash already is, emulating his idol as a kid, Isaiah Thomas, who was the absolute master at the peak of his career. That decision-making.
Walter McCarty, penalty called for having 2 hands making contact. Mike D'Antoni has a constant dialogue with whichever official rotates in front of him. Ernie Fryer now. And the conversation is, look, Dallas is crossing that line between being a pest to Steve Nash and fouling Steve Nash on a regular basis. You've got to start calling it. And I think it's interesting that Nash is not the one who's chirping in the officials' ear, but it's his coach doing it.
That's the best way to get the call, is to have the coach do all of the fighting and then as a player, you subtly step next to the official and say you missed that one.
But what about the front court players? Stoudemire, Hunter, McCarty, Marion coming up, setting some screens and getting Nash open. Steve Nash does not have a physical advantage in terms of athletic ability over anybody he ever plays against.
Walter McCarty has given them nothing thus far in this series. Howard inside. Once again, the ability of Josh Howard to get in, draw either a rebound or a foul or a basket. At times, Stephen Hunter is called to use the ice on the elbow.
That's not a good sign. That's his dunking elbow. And I don't think he's icing it because he's used it too much.
Kind of that Nolan Ryan, Roger Clemens approach here in Texas. 13 for Josh Howard.
The defensive adjustments by Phoenix have to be to tell the guys in the next time out, you might want to think about guarding Josh Howard. This guy is killing you on every aspect of the game. He's driving to the hoop for dunks on the offensive glass. He's getting long rebounds on the defensive end and turning it into transition opportunities. And we're not even touching the guy.
Josh has scored 17 points per game in this series. He plays with that emotion that comes back to that edge we talked about a moment ago. Sometimes he gets him in foul trouble, got him a technical in Game 5. He's maxing it here tonight. Nash to miss. 4 of 10 from the field. The Mavs can take this out to double digits as we get a minute from half. Nowitzki, R3! When's the last time you saw him do that in this series? You saw him do it 5 times a game with Don Nelson. Much better rhythm. 7-0 the run for Dallas. Stopped by Nash.
Well, when Nowitzki's playing well, he's aggressive and assertive and looking for a shot. He's done that tonight. They turned it over.
Marion almost gave it back. Barbosa cleaned it up.
How long can Avery Johnson go with Michael Finley, who's given the Mavericks nothing tonight?
Marion. Howard the board. 2 for 1 time if you want to. Finley trying to get hot.
The Phoenix defense just giving up wide open shots. Steve Nash is way off tonight.
They back that out for 1 shot, and they will as the shot clock is actually ahead of the game clock. It should be off. No fouls to give either way. Nash hit the deck. Triple from the corner. As we come to the end of the first half.
And it's the Phoenix Suns, normally the pace setters. They can't hold on.
A 62-point half from Dallas. Josh Howard was big. Jim Gray over to corral him now.
All right, with Jason Terry. Jason, 15 points here in the first half. How did you change your approach in deciding to pester Steve Nash so much tonight?
Man, it's no secret. It's do or die. And, you know, we're not ready to go home right now. Our fans are not ready to go home right now. There's a sense of urgency here, and we feel if we get this one tonight, we know what we can do in 7.
How much did it resonate when the coach told you in the pregame that you can't be on your heels tonight, that you have to be aggressive?
It was all day. He said 94 feet on both ends, not just defensively, but offensively push it back at him.
How do you maintain this in the second half?
Same thing. No secret. We got to get up 94 feet and do what we do.
All right, thank you.
Let's go.
Congratulations. Jason Terry still fired up, Mike.
Come on, Jim, let's go. I'm glad you got Jason Terry. Back live here in Dallas. You get a look at downtown as we get set to start the second half. The Mavericks trying to stave off elimination here in the American Airlines Center, 62-53. Mike Tirico, Snapper Jones, Bill Walton, and Jim Gray. It's all about attitude, as Avery Johnson was telling us this morning. We heard him in the first half. And you saw Dallas bring it with defensive attitude, but also the attitude of pushing the ball. Listen to what Mike D'Antoni was telling his team as the game was going on about keep going, because they might not be able to keep going tonight.
I'm telling you, they can't keep us up the whole time, but we can.
The tempo battle, it was a 9-point lead by Dallas then, and they've been able to keep it going.
In the second quarter, though.
One more stop, one more great shot, they're back on the hill, guys. They don't like the pressure. They're not going to like it. Keep coming at them.
Dallas owned the second quarter, 15-0 in fast break points. Amari Stoudemire, sitting on the bench for major stretches, did not score in the last 15 minutes as no one guarded Dirk Nowitzki. And Jason Terry is Mike D'Antoni's biggest nightmare. He's a Chauncey Billups-type point guard. He had 11 points in the second quarter, Jason Terry.
Chauncey Billups. Well, D'Antoni is telling this team, this is what we do. We do it for 48 minutes. They did it for 24. So let's see what happens in the next 24 minutes to play.
We check in now and Jim Graham find out what the coaches were talking about at halftime. Jim?
All right, Mike D'Antoni was saying too many turnovers led to 19 fast break points for Dallas. He said Dallas is playing at a frenzied pace. We haven't been able to equal it. He said what we really need to do is calm down, let the game and the pace come to us, play in control. I asked him if Steve Nash was tired. He said, no, he's just over-penetrating. He's going to have to figure it out here in the second half and be more aggressive. Mike?
Jason Terry was the aggressor in that second quarter. Eric Dampier lost it out of bounds. Just to remind you, foul trouble. Jim Jackson, Phoenix starter, has 3. Dampier has 3, and so does Darryl Armstrong off the Dallas bench.
And Jason Terry has badly outplayed Steve Nash, and Eric Dampier has outplayed Amari Stoudemire. We had that scenario, Phoenix facing an incredible hurdle.
Nash tossed it out. It would be over and back as Jackson's foot came down. The same 10 that started the game start this third quarter on the floor.
11 turnovers now for Phoenix that have led to 10 Dallas points.
Well, it would be important if those were forced turnovers, but they're not. Most of them have been self-inflicted, and they've got to do a better job of making decisions.
Miscommunication with Howard and Nowitzki, and it's turned over by Dallas.
A very ragged start for both teams. Anybody gets hot right now, they can take control in this critical game.
The third quarter in this series has belonged to Phoenix. Phoenix has outscored Dallas by 32 in the third quarter.
I think Phoenix is the best conditioned team in basketball. Oh my goodness.
Look at Stoudemire. He holds it like a tennis ball in suspended animation. He did that a couple of times in the fourth quarter of Game 5 as well.
Now he's one of the winners of the genetic lottery.
That different from the NBA draft lottery Tuesday on ESPN? Howard rattles it out. Nowitzki fighting, held by Stoudemire. 3 on Amari.
Problem for Amari Stoudemire is being able to stay out on the floor and have this kind of impact at the offensive end. Big play offensively, misses a chance to get the rebound, and he picks up his 3rd foul. They need him out on the floor, so he's got to do a better job of sealing and going to the glass.
I just keep driving it to the hoop because Stoudemire's picking up careless fouls.
And he's not rebounding tonight, just 2. Nowitzki. Dirk Nowitzki's shooting touch has come back. It's not like he hasn't been scoring. He's been averaging 26 points a game, but 34 in the last one. And Nowitzki with 15 thus far here tonight.
You see Sean Marion pass up a shot. That's what Dirk Nowitzki was doing, and that's why we're struggling. These are freewheeling, free-shooting teams, and when they feel it, they got to let it go.
The former Maverick, Jim Jackson misses. Back comes Howard.
No effort whatsoever by the Suns on the offensive glass. They need to start extracting a price on this Maverick squad that's just rolling here on their home court.
Dampier, as they ISO'd for him, couldn't get it to go. Marion had the corner 3, went in for the 2 off the window.
Marion is the guy who's the best player on the court for Phoenix tonight. 16 points, 11 rebounds.
Every team needs one player to keep them in the game, and that's what Sean Marion is doing right now.
Nowitzki and Dampier screen and roll. A little wrinkle there. Nowitzki, a 7-footer, and the ability to screen and roll with another big like Dampier. Boy, what a reversal in point paint. Points in the paint, he says. Jackson at 2. Terry on a treadmill, going hard to the hole. Free throws coming.
Now this is what Dallas should have been doing the entire series, playing at pace and using all of their people to get the shorthanded Phoenix Suns on their heels.
Dirk Nowitzki, not just a scorer, not just a big guy. His ability to set up his teammates, but Jason Terry continues to just toy with whoever comes at him.
And the beauty of this, these are the guys who had the verbal sparring after Game 1. Remember, Dampier was called out by Nowitzki for his lack of effort, being a step too slow. A lane violation there, so we'll go 2 feet.
The evolution of Dirk Nowitzki. When he joined this league, he was terrified to say anything to anybody that might be the slight bit controversial. Now he's calling out his players, and the Mavericks fans saying, hey, why don't you do that before the series even starts?
Nash has it knocked away. Still Phoenix ball. Bill, you always point out that with so many international players in the league, for some, because of the language barrier, it is tough to be a leader. I asked Dirk about that before Game 3. He said, it's not that tough as he comes up with a turnover. He said, I'm a shy guy by nature. It's taking me a while to evolve into this role. And remember, he didn't come in as a first or second team All-Star. He had to evolve into the player he's become. Nice. Setting up Dampier again. Stoudemire hands off, said, I'm not going to foul you. I'll give it to you. Finley, 3. Still 0 going on for Mike. 1 of 6 tonight. 11 of his last 39. Nash a triple. Rattles in.
Even though they got a transition opportunity after a nice outlet by Amari Stoudemire, some big men are getting pushed underneath the basket. Terry's just having his way. And look at Jason Terry. He's right up there in Steve Nash's face. I'm going to wear you down. You're old. You've been playing huge minutes. I got the fresh legs.
I thought that was Lance Armstrong.
Stoudemire trundles down the lane for 2. Amari's hit all 5 field goals, 14 points, but only 4 rebounds in the first 28 minutes of Game 6. Phoenix trying to eliminate Dallas and get to the conference finals for the first time in 12 years. Five to shoot. Howard. Dirk Nowitzki had Nash, so he went up and easily got the rebound. The double comes. Finley never really had it in his hands. Richardson lost it out of bounds.
Well, the ones that they can control, they're not controlling, and Dallas gets one more opportunity, up 7.
Watch Steve Nash. Every time one of his teammates bobbles the ball, he goes over there and pumps him up. He'd pump him up even more if he'd make a bunch of jumpers.
Dampier. Very active. Finley, finally! The 3. Stoudemire quick response. Ronnie Garrison said he went straight up. No foul. Look out. Building will go nuts. Howard got it. 12-point lead.
If Amari Stoudemire would not double clutch in that situation, he'd be shooting 2 free throws instead of having this crowd start the celebration early.
Trying to set aside pick and roll. Not a lot of room.
Got to go right now. You had Nash along that baseline, an opportunity to get out in transition, squandered.
Dirk wants to take it. Nash came down. Tripped him. Foul call. Amari is asking about the call on the last trip down, and Ronnie Garrison there, the explanation. D'Antoni, Nash, and Stoudemire.
Avery looks like he's playing tonight.
Well, they are playing like Avery would be playing if he was suiting it up in an elimination game. Dirk is asking for it. Pick and roll again with Dampier. D'Antoni's going to have to stop it here. Timeout, Phoenix.
How ironic it is. Steve Nash has dominated this series with a pick and roll, and now it's his best friend and former teammate setting it up.
7-0 run Dallas, plus 14. Reunion Tower, downtown Dallas. Great views provided by the ING. Direct Orange Savings Airship, the high savings one. Our friend Captain Mitch Johnson at the controls. While you've been gone, they have not sat down inside American Airlines Center. The Mavs on a 7-0 run. The Gatorade Cooler Talk. Guys, show us what they've been doing.
Well, the cooler talk really comes down to the play of Eric Dampier. And everything that Dampier has done in this ball game has been at point-blank range. He's been able to handle the passes, put himself in a position to give his team an offensive contribution. So Dampier has been big tonight for the Mavericks.
I want to know what's in that Gatorade.
Eric Dampier scored 15 points in Game 2, 0 in Game 1, 4 in Game 3, 2 in Game 5. So in the losses, he has been really poor. As you see, tonight, he has 15 points, equaling his career playoff high from Game 2.
That's obvious he does not get in that Gatorade that often.
Well, they took a huge gamble on Eric Dampier, thinking that he was going to be the answer to Shaq and Duncan.
Jackson, baseline, tried to corner pitch Marion, 6 to shoot.
And while Dallas has always been out ahead of the curve with Mark Cuban and his vision and Don Nelson, this move is the big controversial one, because I think the future of center play in this league is this guy right here, Amari Stoudemire, although he's not getting it done tonight.
Back out. Richardson. He misses the three. He's 9 points in the quarter for Phoenix.
In 1 for 5, Quentin Richardson is. Hasn't made a three-pointer in memory.
I'm going to quote someone famous that said he's got to take more shots. He hasn't taken enough shots.
Hey, Dallas is taking all the shots.
What a block by Amari Stoudemire, his first of the game. Nothing has been easy for Phoenix. Dallas's transition defense has been nice here this season.
But Dallas is playing with that sense and urgency of desperation. Jackson misses.
Richardson, the putback, and they had the post up down there, but Josh Howard flashing over. Forced it out of his hand.
Maybe an offensive rebound, the ball coming his way, instead of him trying to force the action, will be the key to Quentin Richardson finding his game again.
Offensive rebounds are even in the game. It feels like more. Nowitzki drew Stoudemire's 4th personal foul.
In every game that he's had difficulty with that play from Dirk Nowitzki. A little pump fake. This is what shot blockers do. They get in the air. He was hoping he could avoid the contact, but he's going to have to sit down.
But why, if you have the incredible physical gifts of Amari Stoudemire, you ever go into pump fakes?
I thought you said he was a young player. He's still learning.
So he's 22 years old. It's the end of the second round, Steve.
Oh,
Second trip to the line for Dirk Nowitzki tonight. Guys, I think Mike D'Antoni, well, might keep Stoudemire out with 4. Mark Ivoroni, the assistant, is talking to Stephen Hunter. It looks like Amari may stay for a couple of minutes.
It's too much time. They can't afford to get him that 5th and watch him sit for most of the 4th quarter, so they're going to have to get him out of the game.
I think Phoenix is in trouble.
In the game?
Well, they are behind there.
Marion. Howard comes to get the rebound for the 11th time tonight.
They're in trouble of getting blown out of here.
Finley trying to bang back-to-backers. Kept it alive for Howard. Fresh shot clock. They don't have to force it. Richardson knocked it out of bounds.
But who for Phoenix is playing well enough to turn the tide?
They're down 13, 4:40 to go. What they want to do is get this down to single digits at the 4th quarter break. So let's see if they can do that.
That's what they want to do, but who's going to do that?
Well, Sean Marion's been playing well, and if Marion can continue to score, they'll be okay.
Here's Howard down the lane. Dallas has been the aggressor on both sides, offense and defense. They've set a tone right from the start tonight.
Where they've had their biggest trouble is containing their miss. They've not been able to keep men in front of them this entire ball game. A lot of reaching, a lot of holding, and that's the reason that Howard and company have been getting to the free throw line.
Phoenix, nor Dallas, is a team that is blessed with top individual defenders, with the exception of a Sean Marion.
One more coming for Howard. Stackhouse back in for Finley. Jerry's been very good. Josh Howard at the line. We talk about all the great players out of that 2003 draft, and obviously Dwayne Wade, who you'll see in the conference finals against Detroit, and LeBron James at the top of the draft. Chris Bosh has played so well. Josh Howard taken at the bottom of that draft, 29th pick in that draft. He's emerged into a very good player, averaging 12.5 in the season, 15 points per game in the playoffs, 17 tonight. Second-year man on the Wake Forest. Marion. Dampier alters the shot. Here come the Mavs. 5-on-2. Phoenix able to get back Nowitzki from the elbow.
How can you leave Dirk Nowitzki open in transition?
Stoudemire called for it. Pushed by Dampier before the catch.
Dirk Nowitzki is the first guy you guard. And he is so wide open, he can make that if his other eye was blackened as well.
The one thing is they're not picking up the players in transition. So who's ever got the ball, they're having trouble containing him. Then they're able to get the second opportunity. Dirk Nowitzki knocking him down tonight. But they're playing like a team that has to get to game 7 and are controlling the game.
Nice hand for Dampier, who picked up his 4th personal. Alan Henderson in now. He guards Stoudemire. Phoenix cannot find an open look for a 3. And the second time, Sean Marion drives and uses that angle shot off the glass for 2.
As great a player as Sean Marion is, he's not a lead player. The lead guys have got to be the ones to turn this tempo around for Phoenix, and that's Nash and Stoudemire, and they're not getting it done.
Well, sometimes the lead guys are slow in getting into the game, and that's been the story tonight as Amari Stoudemire trying to tie up Alan Henderson.
And they get the jump ball that all started with good defense by Nash, who slapped it away. Stoudemire staying in the game here, guys, with his 4 personal fouls.
Huge risk.
Phoenix is playing a slow and reactive game. They're waiting to see what Dallas does every single time.
Dallas trying to force game 7. It will be Sunday on ABC at 3 Eastern from America West. The Mavs win tonight. They will fly out tonight to Phoenix because it's a noon local start in the desert. Marion, corner 3. He's been the hot sun this quarter. 21 for Sean Marion, along with 13 rebounds. Mr. Playoff double-double. Back to 11.
Dirk's the one who's sizzling right now. Get him the ball every time. He's not only great on scoring, but passing and playmaking as well.
Is Terry off the mark. Rebound Richardson. Terry pestering Nash. Foul. It's just the second foul on the Mavs here in the quarter. And we have a timeout with 2.5 to go. Dirk Nowitzki, 3rd in the MVP voting. First team All-NBA. Trying to lead Dallas to a second 7th game this playoff season.
John Saunders back in New York. Time now to take a look at the Sprite plays of the night.
Off the Duncan, short shot off the glass is good with 0.5 of a second to go.
He's a great teammate, hard worker, and then a great clutch player.
In this case, these were the Sprite plays of last night. Log on to ESPN.com, keyword Sprite, to see if any plays from tonight's game make it into this week's Sprite Courtside Countdown. Mike.
Plays of last night, tonight, any night. It's a beautiful night here in Dallas, Texas on ESPN and, of course, ESPN HD. Thanks to our friends at Philips, ESPN HD, the only place to see the Western Conference Finals in high definition. If you don't have ESPN HD and ESPN2 HD, why don't you give a buzz to your cable operator or satellite provider.
Dirk Nowitzki has been the story of this game. He's taken 13 shots, which is not enough for as hot as he is. He's made 7. I mean, he's got 9 boards, 5 assists, which is a team high. And Jason Terry's been playing magnificent, and he's only got 1 turnover. Remarkable performance by the first team All-NBAer, the first European to ever do that.
Amari Stoudemire still in with 4 fouls. Henderson physical with him. The bang and the bucket, and all of a sudden, it is a 9-point game, and Amari can take it to 8.
You know, all they want to do is chip away right now. Give themselves a sense that they can get back in this game and watch the Dallas Mavericks starting to tighten up. This game is a must-win game for Dallas. You know, even though players say They like it winning 6. You know, Phoenix knows they got a game to burn.
One of the things, obviously, Game 7 is so special because it is what it is. It's you must win to survive. But Game 6 also tells you about the mental makeup of a team, like San Antonio and Detroit last night. Close it out when you can. Don't mess around with Game 7. Inside of 2 minutes, Nowitzki a 3. Chance to take it down to 7 or 6. Getting a little quiet here in Dallas. Jackson holds it out to Richardson. Nash, a good shooter. Rips hard on a 3. 6-point game. It's a 10-0 response from the Phoenix Suns.
He is by far their team's best shooter. He's the one who's not the streaky player.
Terry tries screen and roll with Henderson. Well defended.
I remind you, earlier in the game, he was on a bad streak, and you said he's not going to get it going.
Stackhouse the miss. Nash the push. Marion. Jim Jackson. Toes set a triple. Write it down.
This is unbelievable what the Phoenix Suns have done. And Sean Marion, his swing passes on the fast break. 13-0 run in only 2.5 minutes.
Remember what D'Antoni said. We can keep it up. Can they? Jason Terry quiet the run.
One of the good shots they've got in the last few minutes. They have not been getting many shots. No run can start without a stop. And Phoenix has come up with a couple. Off the ball.
Tough break. Amari Stoudemire pushed off.
For the 5th time.
This is a very tough call here against D'Antoni's Phoenix Suns. They come with Stephen Hunter. It was so far away from the play. Going against the second-tier players of Alan Henderson, who comes in knowing that he can just get as physical as he wants. Almost baiting Amari Stoudemire. We're going to have to take a look as to what happened away from the ball there.
Get there in a second. Huge moment in the game. So mark this score. Dallas by 5. 51 seconds left. Stoudemire on the bench with 5 fouls. Howard goes right at Hunter. Travel. Look at the 5th. Get back to the 5th foul in a second. That turnover by Dallas just at 7.
Amari Stoudemire right in the low post there. He's down in Alan Henderson.
See the push in the back. And it's an easy call to make. I'm sure he was saying, you don't make that call.
Balderdash. This is the playoffs. This is a second-team All-NBA player.
Oh, I see. We're back to that guy. Balderdash, huh?
Marion fakes the 3. Sean Marion couldn't hit the 2. Nowitzki tied up with Richardson. It's out of bounds. Off.
The Suns were right on that one. That ball went off Dirk Nowitzki, but they don't get the ball. 6.8 left to go.
Stoudemire can't believe the frustration setting in of being taken out of this game. 5 fouls.
Well, you know, D'Antoni gambled. And as I said, it's a huge gamble knowing that he has a tendency to pick up those touch fouls.
Final shot of the 3rd taken by Howard. 2 big shots. It got down to 3. Terry hits the runner in the lane. Stoudemire picks up his 5th. Howard closes the quarter. And the Dallas Mavericks are up 7.
The microcosm of the whole game. It's been Jason Terry and Josh Howard from the opening tip.
It went in with 0-0, so it must be checked via replay, but clearly it's out of his hands before the lights come on. It's even through the cylinder before the lights come on, so the basket's good. And Josh Howard continues his fabulous game tonight for the Dallas Mavericks. He has 19 points to go with Jason Terry's 20. Off we go to the 4th quarter. The desperation of elimination facing the Mavs. They'll go in with a 7-point cushion.
The NBA playoffs on ESPN, home of the Western Conference Finals.
Will those Western Conference Finals start Sunday in Phoenix, Tuesday in Phoenix, or Tuesday in San Antonio? Will we have a 7th game? The Dallas Mavericks trying to do one of the harder things to do in the league. Win game 6 on the road, and or 6 at home. Win game 7 on the road. It's only been done 9 times before in the NBA. Suns outscore Dallas by 2. Take a 7-point lead, or Mavs take a 7-point lead to the 4th.
For that to happen, Phoenix would have to lose 2 consecutive games. They've only done that 3 times all year long.
When Steve Nash was healthy. Jim Jackson, so good in the 4th quarter, denied on his first shot. Remember Jackson's 4th quarter, the difference early on in Game 5, won by Phoenix back in Arizona. Howard couldn't finish, rebounded by McCarty, who's on the floor because of Stoudemire on the bench with 5 fouls. So a very small group with Marion and McCarty, the lone bigs for the Suns.
I don't think Steve Nash is coming out the rest of this game.
Jim Jackson hits that hoop, 5-point game. This is the stretch that Mike D'Antoni would put Steve Nash on the bench. He gets, I guess, covered essentially in towels, lays down on the side there and waits till about the 9-minute mark.
Well, that helps to dry you off and take the water off that is just pouring out of your body.
Nowitzki.
Wow. Great defense, Sean Marion. Now find Marion in transition.
It's 5-on-4. He comes to the left corner. Open is Jackson on the right side for 3. Isn't another Jim Jackson 4th quarter 2-point game.
Great spacing by the Phoenix Suns. Knowing that Nash is going to get them the ball if they just move and give him some space.
The nervous crowd is here at the American Airlines Center because Phoenix just continues to come back.
Terry, his feet never really set, but he still knocks it down. Put on the line at 2. Quick hit, Marion, right at Finley. Foul on Mike.
It's a good thing Jason Terry is having a superb game here along with Josh Howard, because Jerry Stackhouse, who was doing all the talking prior to the game, came out with a couple of nice dunks early on. Since then, he has done absolutely nothing. And joining Mike Finley and 2 guys who have not done much to help the Mavericks cause.
Well, Stackhouse has those games. He's up and down. The last game in Game 5, he was tremendous. Tonight, after his initial start, not been able to get it done, but he's an attacking, an aggressive player. And Stackhouse subscribes to your theory. It's not how many you make, it's how many you take. And he likes to take a lot of shots.
I love the enthusiasm of both sides. It looks like a college game behind the free throws, both places. The gorilla is throwing stuff up in the air in Phoenix. Here they've got bricks and signs. It looks like a construction zone. These fans have been great. As a matter of fact, guys, there is no blue paint available in Dallas. It's sold out from all the kids and the young fans painting their bodies. They are so into their Mavs. Nowitzki skip pass for Finley.
That's a terrible shot.
The Phoenix Suns can tie or take the lead on this possession.
That's Finley's shot. Going to his left. He loves that shot. Just has not been able to get any rhythm tonight.
He's not stopping strong enough.
Nash to the cup. Game tied at 86. Timeout, Dallas. Phoenix has come all the way back.
Michael Finley, 2 for 10 shooting. Jerry Stackhouse, 2 for 10 shooting.
You're vilifying those 2 people. Earlier in the ball game, you were vilifying this guy, Steve Nash, and he ties the game up.
That's why they play 4 quarters and 48 minutes, Steve.
Overall pick in the draft, the Mavericks took Jim Jackson. A dozen teams Jim Jackson has played for, ending up in Phoenix after leaving New Orleans, not wanting to be there. And in the 4th quarter of Game 5, he took over. He played the point at the start of the quarter. He was the one getting the shots on the poorly defended screen and rolls. Had 15 in the quarter, part of his 21 in the game. That really set the stage for Phoenix to come back and beat the Mavericks. Tonight, he's come out of the gate here in the 4th bill with 5 points.
In that same draft, 92, the 14th selection, Malik Sealy. 5 years ago today, Malik Sealy killed in that automobile accident up in Minneapolis. How sad. The world a lesser place because of that loss.
Here is Terry out of the timeout. He misses, rebounded by Quentin Richardson.
Uh-oh, we've gone to the lick now. Steve coming up the court.
Steve Nash.
So are you telling me that we're in the mountains of the Tour de France and Lance Armstrong is going to reappear and suddenly he's going to start torching people?
Slapped away, 5 to shoot. Nash looks at the clock, draws the double. Jackson cuts, got to shoot quick. Hunter They're saying no shot. Disagree with that, but it's a shot clock violation nonetheless.
I concur with your opinion, Mike. But I think what we're seeing right now is a superior physical conditioning of this Phoenix Suns squad.
Well, go back to D'Antoni. He said they can't keep it up. And now they're starting to settle for deeper shots against some pressure defensively. Avery Johnson and Del Harris, they're both concerned.
And a nice job by the 7-footer Hunter to give Nowitzki a very poor look at the basket. Fresh shot clock here for the Mavs.
But the team game and the movement attacking of the basket that defined Dallas's game in the early going has disappeared.
Nowitzki climbing down the lane, trying to draw the foul, and there's nothing going except Phoenix ball. And Nash wants to get it and go.
Right, but while Nowitzki was down, the referee, Jim Capers Jr., saw that and allowed Dirk to get back on defense.
3 of 14 from the field. Dallas over this stretch as Phoenix has gotten back in the game. They haven't led since 4-2. Jackson tries to give him the lead, and he does.
Wall Street is on money here in the fourth. He's got 8, and they like him.
Well, penetration and dish. Phoenix is getting wide open shots. Everything for Dallas is contested off their own dribble, going to their weak side.
Phoenix is at 6 of its last 7 threes. The recipe for the whole season is how they've gotten back in it. Richardson faked the 3, right to the cup for a 2. What a comeback by Phoenix.
This is one of the most amazing turnarounds I've ever seen.
It is a 27-6 run. Stackhouse attacking the glass, draws the foul.
The cheerleaders are up, and that outlaw Bosco and Shirley, and they're saying, keep going, guys, keep going. And if you build a level of lead, we might get in this and close it out. But this is a team that believes in what they're doing, and they're challenging the Dallas Mavericks in that conditioning area right now.
Stackhouse 29 the last game, now 9. Let's remind you that on Sunday on ABC, our coverage begins 3 Eastern, either Game 7 of this series or Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals. San Antonio at Phoenix. TNT Monday begins its coverage of the Eastern Finals, Game 1, Detroit, Miami at the American Airlines Arena in South Florida.
Stackhouse, a tremendous free throw shooter, not only in percentage and accuracy and pressure performance, but also in the volume of shots.
Nash, screen and roll right there. Terry, good defense all night, takes it away to Howard.
You got to get something better on a 4-on-2 fast break than that.
Stackhouse in the lane, try to find Nowitzki. The good defense of Marion takes it away.
They don't wait for anybody.
Nash free. Steve Nash, 9 of 17 from the field. 24 points, 9 assists, 6 rebounds.
But the amazing thing is that he had nothing going early. And now it is just perfect. Now he's back in that zone.
But that's why they play 48 minutes, and that's why a guy gets a chance to get some rhythm. Nowitzki steps out of bounds, so now the tension is beginning to mount on the plays for the Dallas Mavericks. Every one, there's a little bit of contested effort, and they're also mishandling the ball.
And Dallas is the team that looks fatigued, not only physically, but mentally as well.
And Amari Stoudemire on the bench with 5 fouls through this trip. Nash steps back, missed the 3. Howard goes to get the rebound. Who will it be? Who's the step-up guy for the Mavericks? Who wants to take these big shots?
But there's no style. There's no identity. It's just one-on-one play. That's good enough for a while. But at the championship level, where Miami, Detroit, San Antonio already are, you've got to have a system. You've got to have a style that has continuity to it.
Stephen Hunter gave up his dribble. Richardson has it, 9 to shoot.
Great defense, Terry denying Nash.
Richardson gets the roll.
Isaiah Richardson has turned that matchup around here in the last couple of possessions.
Well, he's turned it around here in the 4th and most important quarter. He's being aggressive. He's getting the ball to go in. 4 in the quarter for him. Jason Terry, and 1.
Dallas gives Phoenix a little of its own screen and roll medicine. The foul on Nash for the 3rd time tonight. The 6-minute mark with 5 fouls. Amari Stoudemire coming back in.
Jason Terry, one of those players who never wears out. He can just play basketball at that level all day long.
Just too early to come back in with Stoudemire?
Well, I think that they're trying to go for the finish. It's still too early, and he has a tendency to pick up those cheap fouls, but I think he senses that if they can push to 7 or 8 points, they might be able to close it out.
Now, if you're Dallas, you go right at him, try to drive, get him involved in screen and roll, get him out of the game?
But who are you going to go at him with? Not Eric Dampier. That'll just take you out of your game.
You love Dampier in the first half. The guy 6 of 8 in this game.
He picked up 2 fouls, screen and roll, Nowitzki and Dampier. Here is Nash to Stoudemire. Phoenix by 2, halfway through the fourth. Amari inside.
Now, that's the way to go to the rim without double clutching, which never worked for him in the first 3.5 quarters.
Terry left free for 3. This is the best game Jason Terry's had since the Houston series. Marion able to catch and get the second one back.
Quickness, balance, anticipation. Sean Marion's got it all.
Nowitzki hits the floor like 50 times a game. Terry again drawing contact on Marion for the 4th time.
The Phoenix Suns, they might want to take note of the fact that Jason Terry's right-handed.
5:14 left. Amari Stoudemire must have felt like the kid at the birthday party who couldn't have ice cream and cake. The run was going on. He wasn't a part of it. He got back in. Try to close it out tonight. Very hot day in Dallas. Temperature was in the mid-90s. And the sun has gone down, but the heat has continued inside this beautiful arena. Phoenix has rallied from down 16 to a 3-point lead. 5:14 to go.
The steam bath is on, and we just got a report from Jim Gray saying that the Dallas Maverick huddle with Avery Johnson going crazy about the team celebrating offensive individual play while the Phoenix Suns are running up their backside. And Avery Johnson in Eric Dampier's face saying, "You're in the game. Do something, please, one time."
Here's the quarter so far. The Mavericks just 12 points, 4 of 11 from the field. It has been 46 points in the second half for the Phoenix Suns. They have had their way in the second half with Dallas throughout this series, and that trend continuing here tonight.
Well, Dallas points by quarter, 32, 30, 22, now only 12. Now, granted, there's still 5 minutes to go, but they're not getting to 30 points in this fourth quarter.
Jason Terry is a guy that's keeping them close. He's got 9, looking at 10, and with a chance to make it a one-point game.
Official 2005 playoff merchandise, NBAstore.com. Great Suns and Mavericks playoff gear. Suit up now for the rest of the run. Jason Terry, the last 8 Dallas points.
Steve Nash not as good when he has to turn his back.
Got in the lane, pitched it to Jackson. 6 to shoot, Nowitzki on defense. He'll rise up quickly over Dirk and throw an air ball over the 7-footer.
The one thing that Phoenix does not worry about are missed shots. They're going to miss some. They're going to be some bad-looking shots, but they're going to continue to throw them up.
Nowitzki, second time he fumbled the catch. Draws Richardson's contact and the foul on Quinton. His 4th. Richardson, Marion have 4. Stoudemire has 5. That's 3 team fouls on the Suns this quarter.
When Dallas runs that screen and Jason Terry comes up, I don't know why they're switching that, because that just plays right into what Dallas wants. And that's the same switch that cost the Phoenix Suns game 2 when Quentin Richardson ended up on Dirk Nowitzki on the game-winning play.
It's not the switch, it's the fact that the buy-in on the pump fake. Every time he catches it, he gives him that little pump fake, gets to the free throw line, he gives him a 1-point advantage.
Dallas first to 100. Let me correct. Phoenix 4 team fouls, not 3. Only 1 for Dallas. Stoudemire in the lane. Trying to hang in the air. Contact, no foul. Mavs making a surge back.
Just go in the air and dunk it.
Well, that's what he was going to do, but he didn't quite have control of the ball. And they want a 20-second timeout for the Dallas and Mavericks.
But Eric Dampier was so far behind that play. Every time Amari goes to his double clutch game, it just doesn't work.
4:17 left. Stoudemire denied inside. Mavs ball, 1-point lead, 15 to shoot. Dallas fans hoping that they are not seeing their final game in person here in 2005.
This is a little reminiscent of the San Antonio-Seattle game last night where Seattle kept surging back, but in the end, the Spurs won.
5 to shoot. Nowitzki a 3. He's so good in games when facing elimination. Now 25 for Nowitzki.
Why did they back off Dirk Nowitzki to guard Eric Dampier?
Jim Jackson, he tries. 3 off the mark. Howard the board. Great fight back by the Mavs, who lost their compass in the fourth quarter. Deflected out of bounds, 12 to shoot.
Well, you only need one player to find your way, and the guy that did him for him early in the quarter was Jason Terry. Now it is Dirk Nowitzki coming up with 7 quick points to give him a 4-point lead.
Terry rimmed out. Richardson the rebound.
Keep forcing Jason Terry left. And Nash cannot get open.
There's Stoudemire down the lane. Tried the reverse finish. Couldn't get it. Dampier the rebound for only the second time tonight.
Amari Stoudemire will look back at this game and see all the soft finish attempts.
Jackson, Nash coming down the lane. Pitch in the corner. Marion a 3. Richardson, weak side rebound. Oh, it's got to be a foul.
Absolutely.
Howard hit his head as well.
The Mavericks only have 1 team foul.
Howard dove, made contact with the floor. I believe you could feel and hear his head almost hit as he went down. As the staff comes out to look, it is a timeout taken here under the 3-minute mark. Howard needs to be getting up under his own power. We'll check on him when we come back. Phoenix trails by 4. Back here in Dallas, loud inside. Josh Howard able to get up under his own power. You'll see what happened as he dove and fouled Nash.
Oh.
Nash's right knee came down and compressed his head onto the floor.
Oh, the old knee to the head. Attacking play there. That'll do it every time.
Jim Gray has an update, Jim.
Mike, Josh Howard has a lump on the back of the right side of his head, and his neck is also injured. According to trainer Casey Smith, he will try and stretch it out, and he will return to the game, but he is in some pain as he will continue here, Mike.
Man, it was the unanimous ACC Player of the Year. First man to do that since David Thompson.
What the Phoenix Suns need now is a score. The last couple of times down, they really haven't known where they wanted to get their points, and it's hurt them. Nash.
For 3, the Suns have missed their last 8 field goals. Stoudemire or Jimmy Jackson? Jackson. 4 on Jim. And free throws coming at the other end. As what Avery Johnson asked for at the start of this quarter has happened. Dallas into the bonus first. And they've committed only 2 personal fouls.
Phoenix was so hot early in the drought that has plagued the West for so many years since.
The entire West? Or is this
what is this, the Weather Channel? Dallas has committed, guys, only 5 fouls here in the second half. Part of the reason Phoenix has been able to get back. It's been less physical defense by Dallas, but there hasn't been the easy free throw points for the Suns.
The Suns would get a lot more free throw attempts if Amari Stoudemire would quit double clutching in the basket area.
8-0 Dallas run. Stackhouse 1 of 2 at the line. Nash doing it on his own. fouled on the pass.
Jason Terry's playing tremendous defense tonight.
His offense hasn't been anything to sneeze at. 30 points. Couple off a playoff career best, but he set game 4 against Houston. A reminder, SportsCenter full coverage of this game, the opening of Air League Baseball, and more coming up as soon as we're done. 3 scoreless minutes for Nash and company. And Richardson changed it. Missed the 3. Nash, the rebound. His 7th.
But see, they have decided, as good as they are at shooting the deep ball, they have decided exclusively to chase the deep ball, and it cost them. Marion off balance on that shot.
He had no idea he was that wide.
Yeah, he was expecting a defender in contact, and he got nothing. Final 2 minutes. Mavericks by 5. It's in their hands to send it to Phoenix for Game 7. Terry and Nowitzki have carried them. Terry a 3. Dampier trying to board it. Stoudemire comes away. Marion the run out. Count it! And a foul. Nowitzki trying so hard not to let him get the shot off. Couldn't be physical enough and a chance for a 3-point play.
Mistake. Huge mistake. It's a chance for them to make it a 2-point game. 1:41 left in the 4th quarter. Give up this.
But
don't give them a chance for a 3-point play.
One of the things that makes Phoenix such a desirable and enjoyable team is that they're undersized at every position.
Stoudemire, 6. Fouled out.
Tough night for the kid. You know, he's had some cheap calls in this ball game and never really got a rhythm in the game. His coach gambled, and he will be ready to play in Game 7 back in America West should they need him.
Stephen Hunter checks in his stead. 32 minutes for Amari on this team that's not very deep. 18.6 rebounds. Every point is big now. Dampier is 10 of 26 shooting playoff free throws this season.
Dampier's got 12 points on a lot of dunk opportunities as the Phoenix defense is broken down. Sadly for Eric Dampier, though, just 1 rebound on the night.
Swirl sideways with some side spin as part of the rotation. First one worked for a 5-point lead.
Just off the mark.
Rebound by Richardson.
Again, Phoenix needs to think of getting to keep the game close.
Nash, the double, Marion free. Tries the acrobatic finish. It is tipped back in by Hunter. 2-point game. 88 seconds to go.
2 guys for Dallas going for the block on a wild attempt. Wide open lane for Stephen Hunter.
Jimmy Jackson came to help out on that screen and roll defense. Nowitzki turns, shoots, missed. Richardson. Phoenix can tie or take.
Finds Steve Nash quickly.
He's got it. 1:05 to go. Nash for 3 and the lead. Got it to go. Phoenix on top. 1 minute from the Western Finals. They haven't been there in 12 years. First team All-NBA.
Now, the 2 guys that have carried him in the quarter, Nowitzki and Terry, are trying to play catch, and Lee Howard free.
Bolton.
And double Howard, as he has all game, keeps moving, and gives the Mavericks a 1-point advantage.
Off the board, easy play to call. Not quite sure if you need to double team and help out Sean Marion there.
Nash has it knocked away. Phoenix has a bunch of timeouts, 3 total, and Mike D'Antoni's going to take one here with 34.6 to go and 16 to shoot. 12 years ago tonight, May 20, 1993, Barkley had 28 and 21. They knocked out San Antonio to get to the conference finals. Now they're trying to get to the conference finals and beat San Antonio. Phoenix has the ball, 16 to shoot. No fouls to give. Phoenix can stop it twice, Dallas once. Take a team, take me into a huddle. What do you want to do here?
Get the ball into Steve Nash's hands as quickly as possible. Jason Terry's been doing a magnificent job. Steve's the playmaker, create, and then try to free up someone on the perimeter with a shot.
Well, what you want to do is get the ball going to the hole. Good chance of getting a foul. They have excellent free throwers. So if Nash is the guy, he's got to think about getting to the rim.
And don't try to go 2 for 1 here. Get the best shot you possibly can.
Stoudemire, if you're just tuning in, is fouled out. McCarty in his place. Richardson to trigger. They have timeouts, and we'll use one here. A 20-second timeout taken by Phoenix. They'll have one left. Dallas has one left.
Normally, guys that are 6'5", 6'6" don't get tight, but he was very tight. He didn't know what he wanted to do.
Get the ball in bounds there. I mean, throw it up to a big guy, grab it like a rebound, and then dribble handoff to Steve Nash and you're your play.
Gentlemen, this game going over 100 points for each team. Each game in this series, each team has scored 100. It is the first time in 19 years that a playoff series has gone 6 games and each team has scored 100 in all 6 games. A little bit of Nelly's offense, sprinkled with Avery's defense. Dirk's guts and determination, trying to send their old teammate and friend Steve Nash back to Phoenix for Game 7. The Suns know they'll be playing at noon Pacific, 12:30 Pacific, I should say, 3:30 Eastern on Sunday. Game 7 of this series or Game 1 with the Spurs?
They come with the same set, the same inbounder. You got to throw it in quickly.
Sean Marion wants by Nowitzki. Takes him baseline. Quick shot. No good. Rebound. Nowitzki is fouled. Tim Jackson didn't want to foul there, but it's called. Nowitzki with the defense, and the very good free throw shooter comes to the line.
Well, Sean Marion took a tough try. He didn't really have a good lane. He was trying to force the issue, and as a result, Nowitzki stayed inside of him and was able to get the miss. But there's no alley, there's no angle for him to make that drive, and he's hoping that his quickness after the miss will get him back.
It appeared as that was his plan, was to go for the second tip. But if you can't get the ball to the MVP of the league, how good a team are you?
Nowitzki 6 of 7 from the line, just to make it a 3-point game. Don't need 3, still have a timeout.
They want to try to extend the game. They got to come quickly.
Nash switch, Nowitzki guard him. These guys have done this thousands of times, playing one-on-one. Nash in the lane, trying to draw the contact, got the hoop.
Got a foul right now.
1-point game, 14.2. Stackhouse has missed a couple. Go get him. Richardson does. Stackhouse is 7 of 8 from the line, but he's 2 of 10 from the field here tonight. He went 1 for 2 his last trip.
Stackhouse has that exaggerated deep knee bend, but that gets a lot of pressure off of his arm. He's able to make most of his free throws. He's 8 of 9 tonight.
Call the timeout before the shot. Make him think about it.
Still, D'Antoni tried to get timeout. He didn't. 111-108. Nash goes. This is 3 for the tie. Good! Steve Nash again! 5.7. They inbounded. Don't take a timeout. Dallas on the floor. This to send it to 7. Stackhouse off the rim. We go to overtime. D'Antoni wanted a timeout and didn't get it. Dallas didn't take the timeout. And we play on here at the American Airlines Center.
I love this game.
That's why you don't pay attention to the coach. You just go out there and play.
The MVP one more time. Steve Nash does it again and sends us to the 5th overtime game of these 2005 NBA playoffs. Fifth overtime game of the playoffs. First for these teams. Dallas 2-0 OT in the regular season. Phoenix 1-3. But how we got to overtime. It's a 3-point game. D'Antoni starts to call for timeout. Doesn't get it because Nash was going, and they don't foul. Let him shoot the 3.
I think you have to grab him there or in the backcourt or make him go all the way to the basket.
Then Jason Terry's trying to call timeout. Dirk was yelling at Terry for not fouling. Stack comes down kind of by himself and takes that 3. look at the confusion. And now after the end of regulation, Dirk is saying to Jason, what were you doing there at the end of regulation? Nowitzki has been animated and agitated at mental mistakes made by his teammates tonight. And then as he comes over to the bench at the end of regulation.
You know, Dirk Nowitzki is a lot like someone we're sitting next to. You know, he can always
but look at
throw out that disclaimer.
Look at the different leadership styles. Steve Nash always over there encouraging and positively supporting his teammates.
Dirk wanted it. Avery ran a play to get it to him. Dampier the tip, no. Rebound Marion. Stoudemire has fouled out of this game. 5 fouls on Richardson and Jackson.
You know,
for Phoenix.
In fairness to both of the guys, Terry and Nash, they're difficult covers, and Nash is on a little bit of a tear right now.
Richardson.
Can't buy a shot.
Another rebound for Nash. His 8th. He's 2 away from another triple-double. How about back-to-back playoff triple-doubles? Sean Marion, 2.
Got hit.
Foul on the arm.
But how about how hot Nash is, and he keeps passing to guys who can't finish. Nash in the last 8.5 seconds of the game had 5 points with the drive down the lane and then the three-pointer.
I thought you said his job was to get his teammates involved. He's got to keep them involved. He knows he can get a score anytime he wants, and so he's trying to get Marion in the game, trying to keep Richardson in the game along with Jimmy Jackson. They do those things, then it's easier for him to get the big bucket.
Marion, the first 2 of overtime. We'll get to the micro of this overtime as it moves on, but just a step back. Dallas has not played good defense in the second half of the entire series. They let Phoenix score 58 in the second half to come back, get this to overtime. Nowitzki missed, couldn't squeeze it. Jim Jackson the board.
Dirk is so angry, he's trying to do it by himself.
Q cannot get going from 3. Richardson off the mark all night from behind the arc.
Richardson's problem as a shooter has been he can't get the ball over the rim. Everything is hit the front rim. He needs to think about getting it over the rim.
Mavericks need on-court leadership.
Nash comes down with the foul from behind.
They're all yelling at each other. They got no continuity to their offense whatsoever. Everybody's just getting the ball going one-on-one.
It is an elimination game. It does bring out the very worst sometimes in the team and the teammates.
The foul on Nash was his 4th.
But who's going to say something to Dirk Nowitzki about calming down?
Probably Dampier.
8 to shoot. This is Terry. This is 3. Jason Terry has a playoff career best 33 points. He's had 2 30-plus games in elimination games. Nash responds with another 3. 35 for the MVP.
But the great hand signal coming up the court. The little hand on the rib to signal for that screen by Marion to come up and free him.
On the switch, Terry has Marion. Jim Jackson at Nowitzki. The help comes from Hunter. Dirk cannot finish. He's 0 for 3 in OT. He's complaining about every call. Marion, open, 3, short. And Avery Johnson wants a timeout. The Phoenix Suns, a 5-point lead. They've scored 8 of the first 11 here in overtime.
And Phoenix better be very careful about celebrating too soon. In this game, it's far from over.
Sean Marion, he has a playoff career high with 32. Avery Johnson sees the season slipping away. All right, John and Steve, thank you. See you guys for an action-packed Sports Center coming up. Could have the first preview of the 2005 Western Conference Finals. The top 2 teams in the East, Miami and Detroit, have made it through. We are a couple of minutes away from seeing the top 2 of the West, San Antonio and Phoenix. The Suns have hit 10 threes in the last 24 minutes. They were down 16 with 4 minutes left in the third, forced overtime, and lead by 5.
And again, go back to what D'Antoni said. They can't take this pace. We got to continue to stay at this pace, keep the pressure on. Stackhouse.
Attacks the rim. Gary Stackhouse.
And that's all Dallas needs is a score. They got to continue to find ways to keep the game close. Don't think that they have to come back, bust the 3 to get back in this game.
But Nash is so hot right now.
Oh, man, Steve Nash. It's hard to remember many players having consecutive playoff games like this.
He's got 3 in a row now.
It really is. You want to hesitate before you overstate. But this is pretty special stuff. Stackhouse.
Stackhouse coming to life, but where is Lance Armstrong now? He's in the Pyrenees. Is he pulling away from the competition?
He's on the Alpe d'Huez right now, Steve. He's leaving people in the rear view mirror.
Nash keeps the dribble alive with the left hand. 8 to shoot. Marion was pulled up. Stoudemire takes that and dives down. He's fouled out. Marion the little pull-up. Sean is 34. There are no defensive answers for the guys in white right now.
The decision-making by Steve Nash just flawless.
He draws Stackhouse. He wants to take him down there and draw another one. Hunter came over for the block, but picked up the personal foul.
Tough play. Hunter brings that arm down, and that's what gets the call against him. If they kept that hand in the air, it would have been okay. All of the Suns react because they're a minute and 34 from going home and getting ready for the San Antonio Spurs.
That looked like Jerry Stackhouse just throwing his body right into Stephen Hunter.
Well, offensive players get those kinds of calls.
But Steve, we've seen as this game has turned the benefits of playing as a team the way the Phoenix Suns do, as opposed to the individual style of the Dallas Mavericks. They have to take Dampier out.
Because they're going to need more points here. And right now, Michael Finley comes in. Even though Finley is only 2 of 10, he has 5 points. Walter McCarty has checked in for Phoenix.
And you can see that Finley is just stiff as a board, trying to shake it out a little bit.
Stackhouse, who hit the big free throws at the end of regulation. Still a 1-possession game, 90 seconds. Dallas, they needed better defense in this game. Got it in the first half. They need stops here. Nash tied up, gets it to Marion. 10 to shoot for Steve.
Oh,
the bounce to Marion!
What a pass. This guy, Steve Nash, is unbelievable. With all these giants out here, Stoudemire, Nowitzki, Stackhouse, Jason Terry, little Steve Nash, who is the most unathletic player in the entire league. There's nobody that makes you say, oh my gosh, did you see that?
The most unathletic? He's got to be something. He's doing pretty good here. He's holding his own as Marion steps through the line.
Who's got less athletic ability?
Well, it's not Steve Nash. I mean, Steve Nash plays a lot of sports, and that's telling you that he's a pretty good athlete.
Steve Nash is an unbelievable athlete, Phil.
The guy can't run fast. He can't jump high.
Let the two of us.
He's got no muscle.
Let the two of us bring you back in. Grateful Red going down the stretch here in Dallas. The lead is 5. 75 seconds left. Phoenix has scored on its last 5 possessions here. What a season it has been for the Phoenix Suns. A player first-team All-NBA, second-team All-NBA, third-team All-NBA.
Coach of the year
in Mike D'Antoni. The most valuable player in Steve Nash. And, of course, the executive of the year is voted by the Sporting News, Brian Colangelo, the president and GM. And you go back to the owner, Robert Sarver, the 43-year-old Arizona native, a self-made entrepreneur, banking and real estate, bought this team 11 months ago for $401 million. And his checkbook allowed them to write the big checks in mid-July to go make the offer to Quinn Richardson that the Clippers didn't match and come here to Dallas when the free agency window opened with Rex Chapman, part of the Suns staff, coming down, Amari Stoudemire on the plane as well, and start the recruitment of Steve Nash. And what it has done, taking a team that was 1 win away from being the worst team in the West last year, to 1 minute and 15 seconds from the Western Finals, and there is Sarver watching the game here tonight.
And to do it with the 3rd lowest payroll in the NBA. And then to have Steve Nash come into this building, have the 48-point game, have this game tonight, have it be a situation that he has created where Avery Johnson has had to take out Eric Dampier, which is the guy who they took all the money they were going to spend on Steve Nash and give it to Eric Dampier.
Mark Cuban tried. Steve Nash came back. The offer was not what Nash wanted. Steve decided to make the move back to the team that drafted him. And Dallas has had a very good year, 58 wins. Jason Terry's played well for this team. But Phoenix is just a notch above. If they can stay here for 75 seconds, they'll be into the conference final.
Phoenix cannot get conservative here. Keep extending your defense.
Well, you know Stackhouse is going to be coming to the rim. He's going to try to get inside, make something happen. Oh, Nash on the foul.
It's almost like Terry had too much time. That is the fifth on Nash. So Richardson, Nash, and Jim Jackson at 5. Stoudemire's fouled out.
I think Jason Terry was shocked that he got the ball out of Jerry Stackhouse's hands.
So here comes Michael Finley to the line. There you see Nash and Marion have carried the load with Stoudemire on the bench.
Take away the 6 points of Stackhouse, and this game is over. Stackhouse has kept them close. Finley with 1.
Well, a disappointing night for Michael Finley. 9 points in game 4, 7 points in game 5, just 6 points here tonight. He hadn't had back-to-back single-digit scoring games since January. 2 big ones there. 3-point game.
How about taking the ball out of Nash's hands with a double team? Let somebody else beat you. He's proven he's going to get it done.
Screen and roll with Marion. There's the switch.
Well,
they're the best friends.
They like to switch everything, and Nash always has an advantage. Tries to squeeze it off inside.
Richardson missed. Got the rebound again. Slapped away by Terry. 39.9 remaining in the game. Overtime number 1.
This is where the Suns are at their worst. They can't get the ball in bounds here.
Phoenix 2 timeouts. Dallas 1. Fresh shot clock is waving everybody away.
Nash is going to try to eat as much time in this possession as he can. Then he's going to come to the rim. Avery Johnson is telling his guys no foul, and Josh Howard, one his better defender, stay up.
Same place, back to back. Nowitzki and Nash, they go at it again. It's pitched for Marion. This would be a killer. No good. Rebound, Dirk. He is fouled by Jackson. Nowitzki hurt his left ankle. He goes to grab the ankle. Jackson has fouled out. Dallas is going to have a chance to get within 1 with plenty of time left. Let's see how Nowitzki is.
If you're the Phoenix Suns, make this a free throw shooting contest.
If you're the Phoenix Suns, you could be in huge trouble. You don't play a lot of guys because of the injury to Joe Johnson. And now 2 of your starters have fouled out in Jackson and Stoudemire. Jim Jackson, 16 points, 4 threes, some big hoops at the start of the 4th quarter to get Phoenix back in from that 16-point hole.
If you're Phoenix, after this free throw situation, you're thinking about running the clock out. Don't let him catch up with you and run the clock out. Don't allow the foul to take place. If you're Dallas, you got to look at Walter McCarty as the guy you want to see fouled. Barbosa is coming in the game now. He hasn't played. This is a lot of heat for him to step up and make a pair of free throws.
Good call on Barbosa, Snapper. He has not played at all in the second half or overtime. Just beat 8 minutes in the first half with a second-year man out of Brazil.
Does Dirk miss one of these?
12th best shooter in the league. One more to make it a 1-point game.
As an intentional miss.
Still the time.
No.
1-point game.
You don't want to miss intentionally. You know, you can get a turnover. A lot of things can happen. He missed it anyway.
Not intentionally, and he fouls Quentin Richardson. Wow, so Dirk Nowitzki, one of the top 12 shooters at the line, 87%, goes 1 of 2 there. And Phoenix, if they make their free throws, can make it a 2-possession game again.
Tension, and Dirk Nowitzki fell a little bit on that second one. Normally, after you get the first one as clean as he got it, the second is no problem. Richardson has struggled all night long. See how he handles the heat.
Hasn't been great in the playoffs at the line, below his regular season.
Every shot he's taken tonight has hit the rim. He has not given his shot a chance to go in. Everything is short. He's got to get the ball over the rim.
Dirk looked at Avery. Timeout after this free throw coming. Big free throw, Richardson. 3-point game. Dallas will get it at midcourt. 13.5 seconds remaining.
I think if you're Phoenix, you just make this free throw shooting foul all the time. Don't let him get any threes up there and get the ball into Steve Nash's hand. That guy's not going to miss free throws at the end of this game.
Night 28 of the playoffs has taken us past midnight on the East Coast. A reminder, And Steve Levy and John Anderson are standing by for SportsCenter. Full recap of this Game 6 post-game reaction press conference from here at American Airlines Center, plus the full day in baseball as interleague play got started. And a preview of the Preakness tomorrow. The MVP of the league, Steve Nash, at the end of regulation, took and made some big shots.
The ability to get by guys who were so much bigger and so much stronger. The decision-making, like his idol, Isaiah Thomas, growing up as a kid from Vancouver Island, and now in overtime, the jumpers in the lane, doing whatever he wants, regardless of the defense.
Do you see that athleticism? All of those tough angled shots. You got to be some sort of athlete to make those.
The guy can't jump over 2 pieces of paper, Steve.
Remember, Roman Lowe could not jump over 2 pieces of paper, and much magic was coming from the pearl.
You know, it's funny because people were asking, when have you seen guards play like this? It's the second round. This is not the greatest defensive team that we've ever seen in the history of the NBA, so you don't want to overstate it. But you think back to some of the playoff series that Magic Johnson had at a higher level in the finals, so those were better series. But what Nash has done, now wearing the burden of being the MVP, making it in some ways even more impressive.
And that's when you know you've really got it. When the whole world is watching, they're coming at you. Steve Nash, as the best player as the MVP, he's better than I ever thought he was after these last 3 games.
3 or 2 here, guys. No timeouts left for Dallas.
If you're Dallas, you got to take the quick score and continue to try to extend the game. If you miss the 3, you're cooked because you've got to come back and foul.
I think you go for 3 here.
Quick 3, Nowitzki, no way. Rebound, Nash. They'll go for the steal, but they foul one of the best shooters in the league. Steve Nash has a chance to close this series out at the line.
But you got to make that 3.
What is wrong with you? The shot is a deep shot. He's fading away, and he's had a tough time here in the 4th quarter. They run a play, and this is a fading 3-pointer, and Nash gets the rebound.
Huge free throws. Nash has hit all 5. It's a 2-possession game. No timeouts. 8.3 to go.
That last shot was a microcosm of the 4th quarter and overtime for the Dallas Mavericks. Individual play, bad team chemistry, and now their season is over.
Nash hits them both. Devastating screen on him. Terry puts it up, knocks it down. A 3. 3 seconds left. They deflect the inbounds. Now, Ronnie Garrett's going to come over and just make sure everything is correct with the clock. It is a 2-point game. It was deflected out of bounds, so it will be a sideline out of bounds without the ability to run the baseline. And a timeout taken by Phoenix, so they'll advance it. Let's see. If it was deflected out of bounds, he would be able to advance that.
Jason Terry has stepped up tonight and played a huge game in his own right. And with that one right there, like Steve Nash, just on his own making the big play. So it's a 2-point game. If you're Dallas, you got to think about stopping the clock. Ball comes in, you got to foul, you got to send him back down to the free throw line.
I would advance the ball with the timeout because you're stuck in that corner down there right in front of the Dallas Maverick basket. So get it up here in the front court and then throw it towards your basket.
Discussing the deflection off the inbounds. When it got to 128, 126, and Ronnie Garrison just going in to talk to the Phoenix huddle and find out from Mike D'Antoni where they like the ball. SportsCenter is coming up as soon as we're done.
The deflection should have meant a tick of the clock.
And that's why they brought the clock down the automatic 0.3 of a second to 2.7. Dallas staying alive on the Terry 3. And by the way, Terry has taken his playoff career best up another notch. 36 points. We've had 3 players go over 30 here in this game tonight.
Who's going to inbound the ball for the Phoenix Suns? They have had a nightmare of an evening trying to do that. They've still got a timeout, but if you're the best team and you've got the MVP, you should be able to inbound the ball as you wish.
Phoenix is the only team that can use a timeout here. Dallas is out. There are the numbers for Marion and Nash tonight. 75 points.
And Nash
so
started
guys,
so slowly.
like I said, because of the tip and the 3/10 taken off, they cannot advance it to midcourt. That's why the 3/10 came off. Inbounding here in the backcourt. Marion has it. He's fouled by Nowitzki. 1.1 goes off the clock.
That's all they could do. They have got to be able to stop the clock, give themselves one more chance to maybe come back, make another three. Marion has got to make both of these free throws to put that possibility away.
2-point game. You want to think about fouling depending on where Dallas is able to advance the ball if they need a three to tie. Sean Marion comes to the line. 83% shooter regular season. Very good here tonight. And the next one will make it a two-possession game.
A player, Marion, who so often gets overlooked with the attention to Nash as the MVP and Amari Stoudemire.
He makes it two-possession game. Phoenix just stays out of the way, and they are safe. Inbounded to Nowitzki, who hurls it. It doesn't matter. And for the first time in 12 years, the Phoenix Suns go to the Western Conference Finals. They've eliminated Dallas in 6 entertaining games. High scoring, and Dirk Nowitzki and Steve Nash, the two best friends, 6-year teammates, lead their teams to a great series. That embrace is not the end of their conversation. Surely they will visit even more in the back after the game. A hug of respect from Avery Johnson and others as the Suns have gone from one loss away from having the worst record in the West, turned it around 33 games, and taken it to the conference finals. 12 years to the day after they knocked out San Antonio to get there at 93. Game 1, San Antonio, Phoenix, the two best in the West. Our coverage begins 3 Eastern on ABC on Sunday afternoon. What a night for Nash, who came very close to another triple-double. And let's go over to Jim Gray now. Jim?
All right, thank you very much. Steve Nash being congratulated by new owner Dick Heckman, one of the team here. Steve, congratulations to you. Michael Finley just embraced you. Darrell Armstrong and Dirk Nowitzki. What did they say to you? These are your former teammates.
They just said congratulations and, you know, keep going. That's about it.
Is there any sweetness attached to this for you?
No, I mean, you know, it's a heck of a lot better than losing. So I'm just going to say that. And, you know, I always wanted to finish my career at Maverick, but I've had an incredible time. These guys are a lot of fun to play with, and I'm having as much fun as I've ever had.
Tell us a bit about the comeback. This team was down 16 points with 4 minutes left. Where did you guys find the wherewithal to withstand this and come back?
Well, we've always had it in us. You know, I think all year we've won a lot of games where we've haven't played great. We've just got stops down the stretch, and obviously our offense speaks for itself sometimes. So, you know, we just got to stay hungry and realize we're just a team that's trying to improve every night.
Steve, you got game 1. Sean Marion has joined us out here as well. Don't have much time. What about San Antonio now?
We're going to be ready. I know they'll be waiting on us. We're going to be waiting on them right now. We got to get ready. We got to get ready for them. And we're going to play on Sunday. I think it's going to be a good series, and we're going to be ready.
Gentlemen, congratulations. We look forward to game 1 of the Western Conference on ABC. All right, back to you, Mike.
Marion and Nash, 18 of the 19 points in overtime, Jim. Steve Nash averaged 30 points a game in this series against his old team. Dallas made the decision not to retain Steve Nash. Steve Nash gets the last laugh, at least for this year. San Antonio, Phoenix, Western Conference Finals. San Antonio won 2 of the 3. It starts on ABC 3 Eastern on Sunday. With Snapper Jones, Bill Walton, Jim Gray, our entire crew, Mike Tirico, thanks for watching this presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Off we go to SportsCenter.